As we get set for the Ice Pack to host the Maryland Terrapins, and Maryland hasn't been here in a couple years. Nick, should be an interesting one tonight. The Terrapins, one of those teams interested in making the jump to Division I, and it's going to be a good test tonight.
Yeah, we actually saw this Maryland team 2 years ago, Chris, and both of us said it in the pregame, making our roster boards for the Terrapins. A couple familiar names in there, but a lot of new guys, especially forwards for the Terrapins. But turning to NC State, on the other hand, obviously a big overhaul going into D1, but last week, Chris, two gutsy performances in the third period.
Absolutely, and really two statement wins, I feel like, for this NC State team. One of the big overlying themes of last season was discipline.
Yeah.
That discipline was tested last weekend, and NC State was able to keep their cool in those high-pressure situations, and they come away with two comeback wins in the third period against Kentucky.
Yeah, and I'm going to quote something I heard last night watching Thursday Night Football. I believe it was either Kirk Herbstreit or Al Michaels said it. Little moments early in the season, little plays early in the season that can lead to a win early in the season. It could be huge moments down the road in terms of how you build momentum, how you keep building off those wins. And last week for NC State, two prime opportunities. We're going to start with that Friday night game, Chris. Zach Herman on the power play, third period, down 2. Nets one home. Now it's a 3-2 game. And then with 16 seconds left, Eric Dahlin crashes hard on the 6-on-5 empty net. Finds a wide open goal to tie the game at 3. And then in overtime, nothing happens on a big scrum, of course. And then in the shootout, NC State wins. Look to the next game, Saturday night. Injury to Kentucky's goaltender, Kyle Hogan. NC State quickly capitalizes, score 3 unanswered in the third to win that game. Those could be little moments in games, but those could be huge in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and I think if you're NC State, last weekend is a big weekend to build off of. This weekend, particularly tonight, I think you have a game where they can kind of find out a little bit more about the team. This is a Division II Maryland team, and so I think we'll see a little bit of a different lineup tonight from NC State.
Yeah, we will see a bit of a different lineup, and I think that's because NC State's been struggling offensively. We'll get to that in a little bit, but right now, Chris, offense 5-on-5 especially hasn't been what NC State wants to see.
Well, as we mentioned, it's been a couple years since we've seen this Terrapins team. We're going to step aside and talk about Maryland when we come back. Welcome back to Invisalign Arena. Chris Lehman, Nick Perazzi with you. So we take a little bit of a closer look at this Maryland Terrapins team. And Nick, one thing that really sticks out, this is a young team despite some of the returners that we'll talk about here in a moment.
Yeah, it is. It's also a very top-heavy team with the forwards. 3 new defensemen for Maryland, several new freshmen forwards for the Terrapins as well, freshman goaltender too. So for Maryland to start 3-0-0 this season, with this big roster turnover, a lot of young guys, a lot of seniors and grad students, that's something that you got to be proud of if you're in that Maryland coaching staff.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, it's a little bit of a top-heavy lineup. You see that a little bit more at the Division II level, but Maryland does have some guys with some firepower. Blake Warner and Trevor Duchesne, both with 2 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, and Duchesne with 4 points. Warner, I believe, with 3 or 4 points as well. 2 very good guys that they're going to rely on tonight. But, you look in that depth on those 3rd and 4th lines for Maryland. There's some assists there. Goal scoring-wise, not so much. I don't believe they've scored more than 5 goals this season, but they've scored more than NC State, averaging about 3.54 goals a game. So it's a Maryland team that can score. The question's going to be against D1 NC State. How is that defense going to play against an NC State team that struggled offensively?
Yeah, it will certainly be interesting. That's one thing that head coach Tim Healy told me tonight before the game. There's going to be a serious focus. There was in practice this week, and there will be here tonight in particular, a serious focus on 5-on-5 play. So it'll be interesting to see how NC State does at even strength. But I really look at the 2 opponents this weekend. Maryland, obviously, tonight. Tomorrow up in Virginia against the Hokies of Virginia Tech. Both teams have a lot of top-end talent, or have some solid top-end talent, not quite as much depth. So it'll be interesting to see if this game tonight will be kind of a reflection or a predictor of tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a great point. Obviously, Virginia Tech, Gavin Peduzzi, still there for now, a 5th season, led all of D2, I believe, and that's not ACCH, that's all D2 ACHA. The whole country in points last year. But the way this NC State team has started this year defensively, they haven't given up more than 5 goals. Obviously, you had that 4 spot against Liberty, but, Liberty, number 3 in the country right now. You got to be proud of how this defense is playing, especially with goaltending. Peter Bartels in net tonight for the Ice Pack.
Absolutely, and that's certainly going to be a difference maker for NC State if they can take advantage of that depth in this one. We're going to step aside one more time. When we return, Nick will be joined by our own Grace Motto to wrap things up here pregame.
I would never forget the picture that I have. I'm the only one that's not smiling. Even though I'm with my close friends, I felt alone. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel confident. When I got Invisalign, I built my confidence. It was the best investment that I could do.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
We talk forever about the future. Worry about it, or wish it closer. We try to glimpse the places we'll go. From ocean depths to the far side of the moon. At NC State University, the future is a thing you make. With bright ideas, new tools, and a wolf pack behind you. Tell us where you're headed. We'll help you get there. NC State. Think and do.
When you look at me, you might see
a person with Parkinson's disease.
But if you look closer,
you'll see
a warrior mom,
an endurance athlete,
someone with a lot of fight.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association.
Look closer.
My spirit
is unshakable.
Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing. Because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at CISA.gov/secure-our-world. Then share them with family and friends.
Well, I'm looking good. Thank you. Just became a real ID. What's the plan? Impromptu road trip?
Actually, the plan is to fly to New York for today's product launch, and then visit the family in California and cap it off with a girls' weekend in New Orleans.
You really can just do all that.
Sure, I'm a real ID, so I'm good to board any domestic flight. Speaking of which, gotta fly.
Nice. Enjoy. I'll be here.
Be your Real ID self today. To learn how, visit tsa.gov/realid or your local DMV.
I would never show my teeth. Never. Would never smile. And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anybody's going to take what you have to say seriously. Invisalign has changed my life forever.
Back here in Invisalign Arena, Nick Perazzi now joined by Grace Mata. Just a couple minutes before we drop the puck here in Morrisville, North Carolina. But Grace, we're going to break down kind of what we expect to see this game from both opponents. Now, first starting with NC State, they've been clutch in the third period the last couple of games, especially last week.
Yes, the Ice Pack cannot come out flat-footed this period. You know, Maryland's a fast-moving team. They really need to focus on getting the puck on the net. You know, they've had trouble finding the back of the net in the early two periods. We've seen over the past couple of games, the third period has truly been clutch for them.
And you can't put all your eggs in the basket in a third period comeback every game. It's not going to work like that. We've seen that against Liberty here about 2 weeks ago. They couldn't get it done in a scoreless effort going into overtime against Liberty the next day. But you know, this Maryland team, on the other hand, a couple penalties taken. NC State, pretty lethal in the power play last week.
Yes, and their lethalness has come out from making clean passes on the power play. You know, you want to make sure that crisp passes are going everywhere because even some of those chances, Maryland can still break up any momentum they may have.
Yeah, momentum is going to be key. NC State last week, 2 for 3 on the power play last Friday, 1 for about 6 or 7 last Saturday night. So for the Ice Pack, special teams are going to be key. When we come back, me and Chris are going to bring you Perazzi points and puck drop.
Welcome to Invisalign Arena here in Morrisville, North Carolina. Chris Lamb and Nick Perazzi with you, just about set to get things rolling here between NC State and Maryland. But first, we have the national anthem, so we'll throw it down to public address announcer Wade Minter for that. We're just about set to get things rocking and rolling here in Morrisville. And before we do that, we got to get to our Perazzi points. So I'll hand it over to my partner, Nick. Nick, what are our Perazzi points? Are they Ryder Cup themed?
No. You're upset about that. No, they're Minecraft themed. Yeah, I know.
Cup
I know, Chris. I'm not the biggest golf fan. They're Minecraft themed though. First up, Creeper. Oh man. And this is specifically for NC State. You got to explode like a creeper early on. Now, Grace talked about it in the pregame. You can't come out flat-footed against Maryland. You can't rely on these third-period comebacks. Get something to the net quickly. Hopefully you find the back of the net a couple times. Second, Diamond Armor. This goes for Maryland here. Now, they've taken a good bit of penalties. This NC State team took a lot last week against a chippy Kentucky team. Stay out of the box is going to be key against a red-hot NC State power play. And finally, Chicken Jockey. This is going to use for both teams. Just make clean passes and rely on your teammates today. Seen a lot of hero hockey here from pretty much every team that's played here in Invisalign Arena so far. I like to see them with a little bit of chicken jockey and kind of rely on each other.
Thank you very much, Nick. Even though they weren't Ryder Cup themed. Good Perazzi points this week. Let's take a quick look at the starting lineups. It'll be Patrick Harnon, Michael Schraitman, and Travis Duchesne up front for Maryland. On the back end, Sean Hammond and Caleb Craven with Jack Pharisee in net. Zach Herman, Daniel Prasma, Jake Gifford, the starting line for NC State, with Tate Sodden and Nick Labrizzi on the back end, and Peter Bartels in between the pipes. NC State in the white uniforms here at home. Moving up the right wing, Gifford. He's going to be stalled out in the corner as Hammond there first. Breakout pass, stolen shot, big save, Pharisee with the right pad. NC State with good pressure early. Labrizzi will ring it around the wall. Herman lets it go for Gifford. He'll sweep it back up top for Sodden. Sodden through traffic, sticked away by Pharisee. Herman back to it. He'll throw a body in the corner to knock the puck loose. Sodden swats it across. Labrizzi looking for a tip from Herman. Missed his stick, but State still has the pressure. Sodden down low. There's Herman below the goal line, down to a knee. He's going to be shoved off the puck by Harnon. And Maryland will look to clear. Good play by Prasma to slow it up. Couldn't hold the blue line, though. And the Terrapins will get a change as the puck goes deep.
That good offensive pressure early on for NC State. That's what they needed. They needed to generate something quick offensively. A couple of good looks. Just missed a couple sticks there. But, this second line coming for NC State.
Here's Finch. He'll circle behind the goal, holding off Eli Peter. Hold on to it over on the far side. It'll be tracked down now by Warner.
This is a good forechecking line for NC State to try to keep that offensive pressure as the puck leaves the zone. But, Chris, Govea and Finch have been really great at the forecheck this year.
Govea with a hip check there to knock the puck loose. Darlene first to it in his own end. He'll stretch it out off the stick there of Govea. Mason Payne will chase after it. First there is Peter in the corner. Cross ice pass for Moran. He'll take the shot wide. In the corner, it'll be worked back up top. And Warner will throw it deep. Blue line shot back down low. This is the first time Maryland's had any kind of pressure in the NC State end. Ice Pack, though, back in control again. Gouveia up ice, puts it in the skates of Johnson. Maryland shoots it back out.
Seen that a couple of times this season already, Chris. NC State in the neutral zone just passes to players who aren't ready, or passes just not on the mark, leading to instant dumps that lead to turnovers and having to start back over and play defense.
Still haven't had a stoppage of play yet here in this one. We're already 2.5 minutes into the first period. Good flow to the game so far. He's back trying to break out, having trouble. Craven holds it in. They'll just backhand it down below the goal. Kaufman there for NC State, left for Lapani. He'll look up the near side. Moving back, Kaufman receives the rink-wide pass from Ammons. Kaufman shoots it in. Down in the corner, it'll be Walls to it. Four-man scrum below the goal line. Kaufman drags it loose. Labrizzi across past Carosa's shot. Fanned on. Ammons has the loose puck, though. Finds Kaufman. Back up top past Carosa. Labrizzi, quick shot. Bad save, Pharisee. NC State back on the attack. Maryland really has not been able to generate anything in the offensive end. They had some time down in the O-zone, but they don't have shots yet. Ammons gets a stick to it, but can't keep. Maryland trying to force it across the red line. They need some space to change. NC State not giving them much right now, Nick. Even though they haven't gotten anything out of it, it's a strong start.
They're not. Maryland's been on their heels a good bit. They get into the neutral zone, it's an instant line change for them. Now, they had that quick offensive pressure at about the 18, 17-minute mark, but since then, NC State's honed back in. Great forecheck right now from this Ice Pack fourth line. But, if you're Maryland right now, it's got to make clean passes out of it. That right there was not. You got a guy open down the rink, but you got to make a better pass there. You got to know where the defense is.
We've played over 4 minutes without a stoppage of play yet. NC State back into the offensive end. Nice play, sealing off the wall, getting it deep. Ammons. Blue line, Payne unable to hold the zone. With some speed through neutral ice. Scrapin down into the corner. He'll circle back, looking for some help, but he can't maintain control. Maryland back in possession out of neutral ice. Andre Serra plays it up for Duchesne. Duchesne, we mentioned pregame, 2 goals in 2 games so far. Now we are going to get our first stoppage, and it will be a penalty on Maryland. I believe this will be a slash, and NC State gets the first power play.
It's going to be a slash, I believe, on Luke Mohan, the junior. Yep, and that's going to be the call. So it's going to be 2 minutes for this NC State power play, Chris, who won for about 7 last week on Saturday, but they scored 2 or 3 Friday. They've been streaky, but offensively speaking, we'll get to that in just a second, but they scored a lot of their goals, a majority of them on the power play.
Yeah, we'll talk about that 5-on-5 issue for NC State when we get a chance, but it will be a power play for 2 minutes, slashing penalty on Michael Schrapeman. NC State with the top unit out there. Labrizzi is the lone defenseman. Herman, Gouveia, Johnson, and Prasma out there with him. Herman right down the right wing, backhand of the middle, deflects out into the slot. There's not a white jersey there. First one to it is a Terrapin. Warner can't clear. Now Herman looking across, skates a stick. Gouveia through the middle and through the blue paint, but Johnson can't put it on goal, and now the loose puck pounced on by Pharisee. And that will stop play. Well, it is a power play right now, but Nick, as we mentioned, some 5-on-5 struggles. NC State, through their first 5 games, only 1 even-strength goal.
Yeah, just 1 even-strength goal. They haven't had any games where they've scored more than 5 goals to their first 4, and that bottom stat, they're 3-1-1, but a +1 goal differential. They only have 1 game where they haven't won by multiple goals, and that was their very last one where they got an empty netter. So these offensive struggles have got to put a lot of pressure on special teams, and we saw that last week for sure.
Breezy sweeps it across for Prasma. Played down low, Gouveia takes it off the official. Pestered there along the wall. Prasma again walks to the top of the circle, trying to slide it through Brian Teskey there and can't. Maryland captain able to shut that down, and the penalty kill clears it out and gets a change.
right now for NC State on this power play. They've had a couple good looks. I really like what they had with Herman before that first stoppage. He's still out there right now, but crashing to the net, having guys shoot from the point with a lot of traffic in front. I think that's how they got to start this game out. Just create some testy shots, if you will, on Jake Pharisee.
Just 35 seconds left on the man advantage. Gifford lifts it through the neutral zone. Patterson hands it off at the blue line. Jake Gifford once again. Back for Kaufman. Darlene up top. Looking down to the goal line. Stuff chance, pad save. Loose in the low slot. Maryland clears. Another really good chance that NC State wasn't able to put home. Pharisee doing a good job early.
Yeah, he was. I thought Paterson could have made one more pass to the face-off dot, but I think it was the right decision to try that little shot right in front of on Pharisee. Didn't allow 5-hole.
Here's Gifford now. 4 seconds left on the man advantage. They score! What a shot from Gifford. Through traffic, Pharisee never saw it. And it's a power play goal.
Well, we said, they can't rely too much on the power play, but when it's buzzing, there's nothing wrong with it. Good little snipe from Herman from the top of the point, from Gifford from the top of the point. His second goal of the season. He's now up to 4 points in total, and it looked like a set play there from NC State when they came across. And a lot of traffic in front. Pharisee could never see it, Chris. That's what I was alluding to. Draw some traffic in front, shoot from the point of the face-off dot. That's exactly what they do to make it 1-0.
A glove down by Patty Maxwell at the blue line. Couldn't hold the zone, though. Face-off comes out on top of the Maryland blue line. But if memory serves me correctly, Nick, 6th game of the season for NC State. I believe this is only the 2nd time that they have scored the first goal. They scored the first goal against Georgia in their season opener, but they trailed to both Liberty. Liberty they did.
Yeah, they scored the first one against Liberty. The problem with that one, though, is they allowed 2 goals in less than 2 minutes after that. And that was a big problem with this Iceback team last year, was you score a goal and then all of a sudden whoever their opponent is quickly scores in the next 2 minutes. So far this season, minus that Liberty game, they've adjusted very well.
Interesting to see. NC State has not had a lot of opportunities to play from in front early on in this season. 12.5 left in the first period. NC State 6 shots to none over Maryland right now, and of course a 1-0 lead on the power play goal by Jake Gifford. Behind the net, collected by the Terrapins. They'll look to break out through the middle. Tommy Pilkington. He's upended, but able to connect with a teammate. It'll be dumped in.
Nice little poke check there from Kaufman. Some of the Terrapin bench wanted to call there. I think that was just a pretty good play by Kaufman to get his stick around there, not draw a tripping penalty, and get the puck off his stick.
Pack will skate it out into the neutral zone. Mason Payne with speed. Has it knocked off his stick. Defenseman Rakowskis. NC State holds the zone. High slot shot from Kaufman, misses the glove side. Rebound loose in the slot, collected by Maryland. Chase Wilson trying to clear. NC State stalls that out though. Another attempt from Wilson to clear is successful. Maryland right now just doing everything they can to clear and change.
And it feels like they're surviving right now. It's an awkward bounce off of Rakowskis, but if you're the Terrapins, dump and chase, try to get a forecheck going. This is a good look here. If they can keep possession, that's the other thing though, Chris. They're having trouble keeping possession when they break into the neutral zone.
Ooh, chance in tight. It deflected off a defenseman in Kaufman there. Grant Warner throwing it out in front. Not a shot on goal, though, so still Peter Martell's almost 9 minutes in waiting for his first shot.
And this is a great opportunity for Maryland if they can win this draw. Go with the set play off the draw. Try to get something on goal just to get that donut off the board.
Maryland wins the draw. There's the first shot of the period. Easy stick save for Bartels. Ice Pack will collect behind their own goal. Played up the wall to be deflected out into neutral ice by Prasma. Now we'll receive a pass up ice, but Herman unable to stay on side as he and Daniel Prasma were tied up. Face-off comes back out to neutral ice.
I don't think Herman thought that Prasma was going to get that puck there. Kind of took a funky little bounce, or just kind of snuck through everybody and found Prasma. Herman couldn't quite do the splits there.
So Herman to face off against Grant Warner. Herman wins the draw. Sodden will slide it across for Labrizzi to carry in. Take it straight down the right wing, knocked off his stick, tangled up, and the Terrapins come away with it. Colin Gardy, breakout pass intercepted. NC State back in control. Goal scorer Gifford, back for Sodden. Wide for Labrizzi, he'll gain the red line and shoot it deep. Gifford first to it, thrown right across off the pad of Pharisee. Maryland with it, they'll play it up and out. Sodden at the red line, swats it cross ice. Gifford trying to get a stick to it, but Caleb Craven forces it forward. Grant Warner now into the zone, loses control. Easy across to Sodden once more, looking forward and have a teammate there. NC State just needs to change.
Chris, I know Maryland's play style is to play fast, get up and down the ice as quick as possible, but right now it's their Achilles heel. I think they're playing a little too fast. They need to settle down a little bit in this game, keep the puck on their stick. You're playing D1 NC State, a team that you've faced many times before. Obviously, they're at a different level than you now, but I think you just got to take control of your offense and breaking out right now, because a lot of times it's just chip and chase, and NC State is the first there and another example of that.
Puck caught up in neutral ice, collected now by Schrademan of Maryland. Lifted up, intended for Travis Duchesne. It pops his stick. Not going to have enough juice for icing, though. Pawnee plays it around the wall. NC State some trouble connecting there on the D-to-D pass. Schrademan takes it back. He'll button up back into the zone. Throws it on goal, and Bartels with the glove save. Second shot of the game. Bartels hasn't really been tested so far.
No, he hasn't, but I guess for Maryland, just get a quick shot. Give Bartels something at least. Make him do something in there, and potentially you'll see shots follow after that. And they've got 2 on there right now since that last stoppage, but it's all about keeping possession and finding good looks.
Maryland wins the draw and controls. Pilkington knocked down, but Terrapin's able to hold it deep. Comes loose for Darlene behind the goal, and NC State can try to break out. That man pass intercepted and sent right back in by Rakowskis. NC State will try again. Brandon Raleigh knocked down as he sends it out of the zone. Again, Maryland to the loose puck. Starting to dictate play a little bit more, the Terrapins. Mohan into the corner, putting some pressure on. NC State comes away with the loose puck, though. It'll be skated out by Patterson, pardon me, right into the zone. And he'll sweep it deep. First one there, though, Rakowskis. Skated out, looking for the give and go there with Pilkington. They can't connect. Icing's going to be waved off, so Maryland can change. Hammonds turns at the blue line, coming from behind. He is dispossessed by Warner. Maryland right back on the attack again. Blake Warner chasing after it behind the goal. Gifford able to chop it along. Sent back out in front, deflected through the crease. Another chance swept along and wide. Maryland starting to up their chances here as they start to get their legs. This feels a little bit like the NC State Liberty game, except NC State is playing the role of Liberty here. Frozen by Pharisee, but Nick, I think that's an interesting comparison to make as you look at how NC State really kind of seemed off balance for a while, even though they did take the lead here against Liberty. And Maryland seemed kind of the same, and they're starting to find their footing a bit.
Yeah, they are, and it took a while for them to find that footing. Obviously, you let one by, it's not what you want to happen, but they're starting to get better shots on goal. They're slowing it down as well. That's something I said that they needed to do, and that's what they've been doing. They're keeping possession of the puck. They're not going with the chip and chase, hoping for a deflection and a potential odd man rush.
Gifford backhanded up the wall. Prasma walking the goal line, trying to force it in front, and Pharisee is there to jump on it. A little pushing and shoving after as NC State went in there for the loose puck, but another offensive zone draw coming with 7:12 left in the period.
I couldn't tell if Andrew Walls was trying to kind of go after Prasma after Prasma looked like he went into him, lost his balance a little bit, but afterwards it didn't look like they were trying to do anything with each other.
Looking to break out. Brian Teskey lifts it out of the zone. NC State though taking control. Sodden. That's the breezy. Sauced across for Herman. He'll walk it into the zone. Prasma there with him, trying to hand it off. Prasma has a stick knocked away. Good defensive effort from Grant Warner, but NC State still in control. Prasma has it. He'll throw it on goal. Pad save there from Pharisee. Now Gifford behind the goal line. Back out in front, one-time chance. And Pharisee seals it off. Couple of good chances there for NC State. 6:25 left in the first period. Gifford in on the forecheck. He'll put some pressure on Andrew Walls. Gouveia in to help. Gifford has the loose puck. Thrown towards the goal. Glove save Pharisee. He'll hold on for the faceoff. .6:13 left in the first period. NC State up 1-0. A power play goal off the stick of Jake Gifford. They have controlled the majority of this period as well. 10-2 the advantage in shots. And we talked about that depth for NC State. That'll become more evident as the game wears on, but you can see the consistent level of play from NC State up and down the lineup here in this one so far. Gouveia centering Finch and Johnson as the puck jumps into the Maryland bench. Gouveia face off against Patrick Harden of Maryland. Gouveia looking to win the face-off forward. Loose puck collected though by Rakowskis. Maryland start the breakout. Lapani trying to stop a bouncing puck. Gouveia to it in neutral ice. He continues to bounce on Maxwell. Cross Lapani. He's got some space up the right side, lifts it in from the red line. So no icing. Gouveia races in, looks to the middle as he beat his man to the loose puck, but nobody there in a white jersey. Maryland back the other way. Harden right through the middle, looking to the center. I'm sure he was ready for Andre Serra there. NC State back in control. Finch. Collision over on that far side. Get a Maryland player slow to get up. That was the aforementioned Serra. Gouveia in transition, looking to the middle. Denied nicely at the defense by Rakowskis, and the puck skitters out of the zone. NC State checks up, back in they come. Mason Payne loses it almost onto the stick of Maxwell. Maryland clears again. NC State constricting that forecheck once more, making it really difficult on Maryland. Mohin dumps it in. Bartel's behind the goal. Under 5 to go in this first period. It's been a quick first period. A lot of continuous play. Good flow to this game. Only 1 goal so far.
And Maryland's kind of evened things up a little bit in terms of carrying the pace of play, matching up to NC State. The shot total might not tell it, but this game's settled down a good bit, like you said, Chris. A lot of just back and forth between each team now.
Swatted deep by Maryland's James Romps. Icepack start the breakout behind the goal. Darlene, nifty move behind to get out. He'll throw it off a linesman. NC State's breakout is stalled out. Now Maryland can advance it. Back to the puck now, Buckley. Working around to the near corner. Seen a lot of disconnect through the neutral zone on both sides. Nobody has had great control. NC State, though, back in. Centering pass for Buckley goes right under his stick. Maryland sends it back into the neutral zone.
Well, at first, Maryland was having a lot of trouble in the neutral zone. Now it's really NC State again. Another bad pass. Can't connect. Sodden gets double teamed. It's on sides.
A backhand try handled easily by the pad of Bartels. Maryland, though, keeps the zone, circling with it, Peter. And he'll throw it on goal. Bartels swallows it up with 3:28 left in the period.
To go back to that point, Chris, that you were mentioning about how, NC State's now struggling in the neutral zone. Maryland's cleaned it up a good bit. They slowed their game down a little bit. They were able to make an in-game adjustment, and it's worked very well in terms of that.
Face-off being taken by Grant Warner of Maryland. He wins it back to Serra at the blue line, thrown off the back wall. Terrapin's first to it. Sent back to the high slot for Darty. Serra bouncing puck through traffic, doesn't hit the net. Terrapin's good pressure here, sweeping chance there for Horan, doesn't work out, and now it'll be covered up by Bartels. And another offensive zone draw coming for Maryland. 3:08 left in the first. The Terps definitely tipping the scales back in their favor at this point. And they're only down by 1, despite all the zone time for NC State and the chances early. Herman straight through the middle of the ice. Hands it off far side for Prasma. He'll try and walk through 3 Terrapins. Can't take the puck with him. Pawnee holds the zone. Gifford there along the wall. He'll try and shovel it deep. Maryland up to the task. Prasma back again, but he loses it right onto the stick. Cameron Horan poked away, and now Prasma back the other way. NC State has the number, centering for Herman. Oh, he couldn't quite corral the pass from Prasma. And NC State has a chance go by the wayside. Back the other way, Doherty. All alone for the Terps. He'll be forced behind the goal. NC State able to stop that up. Lapani needs some help, but instead it's Harnan in to take it for Maryland. His centering pass intercepted. Now Herman back the other way. He'll lift it deep. Pasquaroso with him. Into the corner. The NC State defenseman leaves it for Herman again. Down low for Johnson. He's pickpocketed. Maryland having some trouble connecting on the breakout pass. Under 2 to go in the first. Forward for Finch. High slot shot, hits a body on the way in. Clearance collected. Maryland, again, just doesn't seem quite smooth enough in their transition game right now. Darlene intercepts. He'll walk straight through the middle, looking for a chance. Loses it to Govea. Turns on a dime in the corner. Back for Darlene. He absorbs a hit. Johnson looking to the middle. Govea trying to settle it down. Too much pressure though. Maryland not able to clear. Finch finds Govea. His shot right into the chest of Pharisee, and he'll hold on. NC State continuing to get the lion's share of the chances. As we mentioned, Maryland's been able to tip the scales a little bit. We'll get another look at that last chance for NC State. It was Darlene who gave a little extra poke to Pharisee after the whistle, and that's what Maryland was taking exception to. But your NC State, you want to try and capitalize on one of these opportunities before the end of the period, because the way they've played is not entirely reflected in the score so far. Govea on the face-off up against Luke Mohan of NC State. They score right on cue. Reese Johnson on the one-timer. Get another look at it. This was a great finish from Johnson. Govea puts it right in his wheelhouse, and Pharisee really doesn't stand much of a chance. That was a set play for the Ice Pack off the draw. And just like I said, they needed to get another one to, put the score in a more reflective state of the way this period has gone. And you certainly stifle some of the momentum Maryland may have built, although the Terps not done yet. Here's a quick chance in transition, slid wide by Mohan. Maryland still in control, up top Teskey. Move D to D for Peter, and it's knocked off his stick and out of the zone. Last minute of the period. NC State with a late goal, lead it 2-0 here in the first. 45 seconds left in the period. Tracking back after Andrew Walls. Backhanded up and into the NC State bench, so we get a stoppage with 39 seconds left. NC State going with the line of Patterson, Connie, and Raleigh here for this offensive zone draw. Patterson taking the face-off against Chase Wilson of Maryland. One to the wall. He fought for it. NC State comes away with it. Patterson played up for Sodden. He'll look things over. Trying to step away from the pressure of James Body. Maryland able to clear. 22 seconds left in the period. Maybe time for one last push. Raleigh slaps it off the wall. Maryland Maryland reverses it back. Bunted by Craven. They'll force it down low. 8 seconds left in the period. Labreezy pins his man there. Up at the blue line, it's Walls. Backhanded down low, and that's where the period's going to come to an end. Labreezy, and I believe that was Craven in a shoving back.
Welcome back to Invisalign Arena. I'm Grace Motto, joined here by Ice Pack forward Reese Johnson. Reese got on the board in the first period. How do you guys plan to keep this momentum going?
Yeah, obviously, nice to get an early start for once. We're usually playing from behind, but we just plan to stay physical, stay fast, play our game. As long as we're playing our game, we feel like they can't keep up with us.
And what was your mindset coming into this matchup?
We were kind of planning to ride the momentum, but also build up. We've got some big games coming up, so obviously coming off a big sweep against Kentucky, but just kind of trying to keep that going.
And is there some things you guys think you need to tighten up heading into the second?
Yeah, obviously no period's going to be perfect. We could clean up the D zone. They had a couple of chances. It got sloppy there for a minute, but just happy to be up 2-0.
Well, congratulations on your goal.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake. We will be back shortly after this.
I would never show my teeth. Never. Would never smile. And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anybody's going to take what you have to say seriously. Invisalign has changed my life forever.
Locally owned and operated by an NC State graduate, the Red and White Shop is your source for all things NC State. Just off campus in the Ridgewood Shopping Center at 3526 Wade Avenue, the Red and White Shop has everything the NC State fan needs. Sporting goods and memorabilia, your favorite NC State team apparel, tailgating essentials, Ice Pack gear. A proud sponsor of the NC State hockey team, a percentage of all Ice Pack sales go back to the team. Stop by today or visit us online. The Red and White Shop.
Why are sandwiches so much better hot?
I don't know. Why does everyone love summer or hot gossip? Hotter is just better.
Oh, don't forget about hot ovens or hot peppers.
Hot springs, hot chocolate.
Hot sandwiches.
Ooh.
Hot soup, hot air balloons. Hot yoga.
I get it. Hotter is better.
Or hot melted cheese. Sorry.
Potbelly, we bring the hot.
Happy birthday, Max.
Yes! I'm Joan the Phone, here to show you 4 easy ways to stay safe online. Come on. We can secure our world when you choose your passwords. Make them strong. Use a password manager to help you along. But don't just use a password alone. Get a call, get a text, or a code on your phone.
MFA really works.
We can secure our world. When it's time to update an app, don't you hesitate. Do it ASAP.
Just like that.
Watch out for offers too good to be true. What? It's probably someone trying to take advantage of you.
Hey, that's phishing.
Let's report it. Install updates. Make better passwords. Think before you click. Use multiple factors. That's how we can secure our world. Learn more at CISA.gov/secure our world.
For each life moment, your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. Your kids may be eligible now, even if you've applied before. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Get started now at insurekidsnow.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
I would never forget the picture that I have. I'm the only one that's not smiling. Even though I'm with my close friends, I felt alone. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel confident. When I got Invisalign, I built my confidence. It was the best investment that I could do.
Back here in Invisalign Arena, Nick Perazzi along with Grace Mata. And Grace, that first period for NC State, you just talked with second goal scorer of the game, Reese Johnson. But for NC State, at the start of the game, they had good offensive pressure, and then they draw a penalty against Maryland, and then it was Jake Gifford striking again early in the game on the power play.
I know starting line came fresh out of the gate with great offensive pressure, and they ended up getting rewarded with it. You know, that Gifford goal was something to talk about. You had pucks and bodies straight to the net, which he came out victorious with.
Yeah, and that's something we both talked about pregame was, early offensive pressure for NC State was going to be key. You can't let it go to the third period once again. But it generated some momentum for NC State. Then the passing for really both teams. Maryland at first, NC State towards the end of the period. kind of sloppy play through the neutral zones.
I feel like Maryland needs to pick up their heads even when they don't have the puck. That's a huge part of the game, is knowing where the puck is going to be instead of anticipating where it is now. You know, you see cross-ice passes. I have to say one of the best plays is when a smart hockey player knows that the puck's going in that passing lane.
Yeah. And a couple of times for Maryland, you know, trying to get that chip and chase pass through the neutral zone, you know, maybe a stretch pass or two as well through the neutral zone, hasn't really worked for them. But, you know, something they did during that period is they slowed their pace of play down. They now have 5 shots on goal. For a while they're a big donut, but for Maryland, a couple of in-game adjustments, however, now down 2-0 after Reese Johnson, who we just talked to, made it 2-0 NC State.
I know, it's going to be an interesting period to see if Maryland, you know, will ultimately tie it up, if they get some more offensive pressure. I mean, our goalie has really not seen a lot of shots recently.
No, Bartels really hasn't even been tested too much either, but you know, if you're Maryland right now, it's going to be the long change for the second period. Maybe that stretch pass could work once or twice, but you know, to beat NC State tonight, I think they're going to generate some more ozone time and potentially look to shooting at the point and try to get some deflections on net, because that's where good things start sometimes.
Yep. Anytime you're in front of the net with a shot, hopefully you get a little something.
Yeah. And, you know, going into the second period for NC State up 2-0, you know, Chris said it during gameplay, they haven't really played with a lead too much yet. So for NC State, a bit of uncharted territory, if you will, with that 2-goal advantage.
Exactly. Chris said it perfectly.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to expect. I mean, you just have to play the game, see how it unfolds from there.
Well, a power play goal and their second 5-on-5 goal of the season comes in game number 6 for NC State, which it's something that, you know, offensive struggles, you mentioned it, they're starting to turn the tide a little bit. But looking into that second period, I think a couple of adjustments could be made for both teams. And we'll talk about those adjustments on the other side of this break. 2-0 NC State here in the first intermission.
Just minutes away from the start of period number 2. NC State leading Maryland 2-0 after 20 minutes. Chris Lehman back alongside Nick Perazzi. And Nick, you and Grace just discussing the way that Maryland was able to adjust on the fly in the period to kind of figure a few things out. But NC State still, to me, too suffocating on that forecheck to really give Maryland any space.
And that's been a huge story of this game early on for NC State. That forecheck for them was just phenomenal. And Maryland, I think, adjusting a little bit. They got better as that game went on, or excuse me, the first period went on, because they were able to slow the game down, not go for those quick passes through the neutral zone when they don't have numbers. Kind of move forward as a team, if you will, out of their own zone. But NC State, towards the end of that period, they adjusted too. They started getting a good forecheck back against Maryland, and it resulted in that Reese Johnson goal. Going into the second period, if you're Maryland, now you see what NC State did to adjust. I still think they got to move as a team out of the zone. And then, like Grace said, keep your head up and expect to pass in any given moment. You can't play with your head down. You got to know where the puck is at all times, and it could be coming to you at any moment.
Yeah. Well, I think you mentioned the Reese Johnson goal. When I look back at that first period and you look at the 2 goals that NC State scored, talk about kind of the difference between Division I and Division II ACHA hockey. One of the big differences is in skill. Yeah. The shot from Johnson, the way that Gifford was able to find his spot through traffic on the power play, those are 2 skillful goals.
And you look at the shots for each team. NC State obviously winning the battle right now 13-5, but the quality shots, it's not a stat that anyone keeps, but maybe 1 for Maryland, but probably 4, 5, 6 for NC State. And there have been a couple of other great chances that they fanned on. There was on the power play, a couple were fanned on. Herman missed a little deflection in front of the net. So did Austin Finch for NC State. It's just getting puck to stick there in front of the net. And it's hard sometimes. You're not going to see it all the time. They struggle in the big leagues at it. But the fact that NC State is winning that quality shot battle, if you're Maryland, it all starts with time of possession on offense. I told Grace, get some deflections in front, and that can generate those high-quality shots for the Terps.
Yeah, you talk about time of possession. The other thing we touched on in the pregame and in the first period was the difference in depth. And if your time of possession is low, if you're Maryland and you're not as deep as NC State, that's going to cause problems later.
What's this period, Chris? What's this period coming
Period
up?
of the long change.
It's the long change. It's the long change. And if you're Maryland, stamina is going to be an issue. Not a lot of players here. You don't have that depth like you mentioned, and this team loves to play fast. NC State can take advantage of it. If you're Maryland, though, slow it down again. Move out as a team.
Well, it's time to take one more break here at the first intermission. We'll be back with Puck Drop in the second period after this.
I would never forget the picture that I have. I'm the only one that's not smiling. Even though I'm with my close friends, I felt alone. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel confident. When I got Invisaligned, I built my confidence. It was the best investment that I could do.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
We talk forever about the future. Worry about it, or wish it closer. We try to glimpse the places we'll go. From ocean depths to the far side of the moon. At NC State University, the future is a thing you make. With bright ideas, new tools, and a wolf pack behind you. Tell us where you're headed. We'll help you get there. NC State. Think and do.
When you look at me, you might see
a person with Parkinson's disease.
But if you look closer,
you'll see
a warrior mom,
an endurance athlete,
someone with a lot of fight.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson's Disease Association.
Look closer.
My spirit is unshakable. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing, because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at CISA.gov/secure-our-world. Then share them with family and friends.
Well, I'm looking good. Thank you. Just became a real ID. What's the plan? Impromptu road trip? Actually, the plan is to fly to New York for today's product launch, and then visit a family in California, and cap it off with a girls' weekend in New Orleans. You really can just do all that. Sure, I'm a real ID, so I'm good to board any domestic flight. Speaking of which, gotta fly. Nice. Enjoy. I'll be here.
Be your Real ID self today. To learn how, visit tsa.gov/realid or your local DMV.
I would never show my teeth. Never. Would never smile. And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anybody's going to take what you have to say seriously. Invisalign has changed my life forever.
Welcome back here to Invisalign Arena. Nick Perazzi along with Chris Lehman. The all-new ESPN app has arrived. It's all of ESPN, all in one place. It's your home for the most and best live sports and a whole new way to experience ESPN. With over 47,000 live streams, studio shows, and ESPN originals and brand new features, it's a sports fan's dream. One of the best slates of sports tomorrow, college football, the Ryder Cup. Great time to check out Multiview and watch up to 4 games at once. The future of sports has arrived, and it's called ESPN. So download the ESPN app on your TV or mobile device, log in, and start streaming.
First 20 minutes up on the clock as we get set for period number 2 between Maryland and NC State. First goal was a power play goal from Jake Gifford about 7 minutes in, and with just over a minute left in the period, it was Reese Johnson off the face-off win by Joey Govea to double the lead, and that is where we sit at the start of period number 2. Looks like NC State will go with that top line of Herman centering Gifford and Prasma with the Breezy and Sodden on the back end. For Maryland, they'll go with Caleb Craven and Sean Ammon at the back, and they'll go with that same starting lineup of Patrick Harnan, Michael Schrademan, and Travis Duchesne up front. So Harnan and Herman on the draw. 2 teams will switch ends. NC State in the white moves left to right here in period number 2. Maryland in black moving right to left. NC State wins the draw. Herman looking to drop it off as he enters the zone, but that's intercepted. Maryland will force it back out. Caleb Craven into the NC State zone and behind the goal. He'll turn around and sweep one to the middle for Harnan, who has to chase down the loose puck in the corner. Knocked off his stick. Sodden now in control. He'll turn with it and carry it back behind the goal.
I really like Caleb Craven early to start this period, Chris. Kind of giving a lot
Stolen away. Here's a chance in tight. Bartels makes the save.
Now as well, Michael Schrademan. Now, Maryland put in a lot of pressure on NC State early, keeping the puck possession, as that's going to be an offsides against the Ice Pack. It's a great start for Maryland, and you got to build off this. NC State makes a mistake, and if you're the Terrapins, force NC State to make those mistakes. That's a great way to come back in this game down 2-0. It's very manageable, plenty of time left, and force NC State to force passes, force them to do things that can cause those mistakes.
Herman again on the draw for NC State. He'll win it backwards for Darlene. Payne and Darlene, the new defensive pairing on the ice for NC State. Behind the net, Pharisee sets it on a tee for Peter to try and clear out. It will bounce into neutral ice as NC State retreats for it. Gifford. Oh, he lost an edge trying to send it rink wide. Now to be stuck up under him. Cullen Darty able to sweep it into the NC State zone. NC State regroups. Darlene behind for Payne. Payne under some pressure, able to find Prasma, who deflects it to the middle. Nobody there. Darlene has to step forward for it. Gifford will shoot it in. Herman first to it behind the goal line. He'll play it along to the far corner. Pack that there by the Terps, but not out. Now Maryland able to clear. Icing beaten out. Good hustle play there by Doherty, and he'll continue to go after it. Good forecheck from Colin Doherty. NC State having some trouble. They have to start over again. Now they break out. Pasquarosa up the left wing. Lost the handle. Puck sitting just inside the Maryland line. Looks chip it out. NC State still controlling. Reese Johnson now already has one. In on a 2-and-1 with Finch. Oh, with the centering pass behind his teammate. And Maryland able to shut that down. Pasqualosa now through the pack. His shot blocked and it deflects out of the zone. Oh, here's a steal in front. Oh, lifted up over top. Well, NC State gave up one of those opportunities earlier, and Gouveia with a great chance there for NC State.
Well, if Joey Gouveia would have let me finish my sentence there, I would have said Maryland's generating those mistakes from NC State. But now, a massive mistake from Maryland to turn the puck over right to the senior alternate captain, Gouveia, right in front. Big test to start the second period against Jimmy Maryland's goal contender, Jack Pharisee. But he was up to the challenge.
Face-off won by Maryland. Terps will start behind their own goal on the breakout. Played up the middle for Chase Wilson. He's got plenty of space. Walking in, shoots it into the shin pads of Tate Sodden. NC State clears the zone. And right back in by Sarah. Now Labrizzi for NC State. Beat D with Sodden. Doesn't have any option but to lift it up and out. That forecheck from Maryland that's making it difficult on NC State. Sodden will try again. He overskated the puck. It's tied up there with James' body behind the goal.
Yeah, he wanted a call that his stick got knocked out, a potential holding against NC State. He was up in arms skating back to his stick there, but to no avail.
At the blue line, they'll battle for it. NC State forces it out. Good hustle by Reese Johnson. He'll take the puck up ice. Trying to skate in around Sarah, who knocks him down. And shuts down that opportunity. Good defense by Maryland there.
It's about the third time the linesman's been hit, and it's all been right at that blue line where NC State's attacking this period.
Maryland has looked like a little bit better of a team than NC State here in the second. They charge in on Bartels, who covers up. We'll get a stoppage with 16-14 left in the period, but a much better start here for Maryland.
Yeah, and Patrick Harden skating hard on Bartels. There was an interesting flip, and it was a knuckler of a puck on Bartels. Had to awkwardly glove it down, and that was a great hustle play by Harden in case Bartels has that one go through him, he gets by him, or he can't fully control it.
Off the draw, Maryland controls the offensive end. They'll shoot it back below the goal line. Darlene elevates it up, but not out. They'll reset behind the goal. Mason Payne up the near side. It's on and off the stick of Ammons. Pharisee touches it to the near side. Maryland back out the other way. Harden carries it in, leaves it off of the blue line, and the one-timer swallowed up by Bartels. Caleb Craven with the shot.
Well, Craven with a good shot. It's a great setup play by Maryland. You take a look. But if I slow this down as the shot comes in, there's not a lot of traffic in front. Travis Duchesne just a little late going over there. And, if Craven, obviously he's not going to wait and pass up on a one-time opportunity from the point, but Bartel saw it all the way. I think if Duchesne was just about a second earlier getting in front of Bartels, that is a really great opportunity for Maryland to get on the board.
Mason Payne stretch pass hit the stick of Giancani, but he was on the wrong side of the red line. Connie's trying to plead his case, but the linesman astutely pointing out he was on the wrong side of the red line, and it was icing.
Well, I think he's also saying that Craven touched it, or that he could have been there to make a play on it, but I think because it touched Connie's stick and went over Craven, he didn't have a play on it, and that's why they call it an icing. It also allows Maryland to get a new forward group out there.
Patterson tossed from the face-off circle. Well, thought he was. He'll head back in. Take the face-off against Grant Warner. Patterson wins the draw. NC State will start the breakout. Rollin into the middle. He's got Patterson with space. Darlene straight through the middle with speed. He'll look for Patterson's pass. That's deflected back behind the goal. NC State will control though. Look back to the blue line. Mason Payne trying to touch it down low. Darlene is there but can't control. Now Maryland will look to break out. Brian Teskey looking for space. He'll play it back behind the goal and get it back from his defensive partner Peter. Now Maryland through the neutral zone. Stopped up at the blue line by Sodden. Follow up though by Cameron Horan. will enter the zone.
How about that play from
And
Colin?
now play stops and that's off.
Oh, and Darlene might have pushed him after the play too on Warner.
There's definitely going to be at least one penalty.
Yeah, they're
here.
going to send Darlene to the box. Take a look behind the net here. There was no need for Darlene to do that. And that's an easy call, and that's just not a great play to make. I heard this term over the week, Chris, describing penalties. I believe it was a football team. They just called them dummies, these penalties, because they're just not smart penalties that you take, and they're very avoidable. And that one right there, just not the best penalty to take to give Maryland a power play, who really have kind of carried pace of play through the first 5 minutes of this period.
So it'll be 2 minutes for cross-checking, and Maryland gets their first power play of the evening. And a chance here to really build on the momentum they built in the first 5 minutes of the second. Puck into the corner, off the draw. Govea finds it, shoots it the length of the ice, and that'll kill some time.
This NC State penalty kill group has been sensational for them early this season. Interested to see, though, what Maryland can bring on the power play. Haven't seen too much of them this season on the man advantage, but they play with a lot of speed, which is a benefit, but it all starts with keeping possession of the puck, and Austin Finch stole it away from them.
To me, the first clear on a penalty kill is always the most important. It's a lot harder to get set back up when you have to re-enter the zone after it's been cleared.
It tires out that line that's already out there. They're starting, having to go all the way back down, chase the puck, and then do it again. And now they're going to have to do it a third time now.
Maryland hasn't been able to get much more than a few feet
down
into the NC State end since that clearance. Halfway through the man advantage. Here's a chance brewing, though. Into the slot, loose puck, it skates. One-time try, Bartels has it, and he'll hold on.
Well, it's just in skates, and I believe that was Patrick Harnan who, just kind of fired one in on net. Take a look at it. It got deflected by Lapani, just came back across. It was actually, it was Harnan, or excuse me, it was not Harnan. It was Travis Duchesne who, kind of saw the puck right there. Just says, I'll just shoot it if there's no one else in front of me. Martell's, though, able to see it, but, chances like that for Maryland cause chaos in front. You never know. And, that dirty area, I haven't really seen either team go there too much today. I think Maryland might be finding something there.
Well, Terrapins control off the drop. Cross ice pass to the near side, finds Warner. He'll look back to the other side. A little bit of trouble there for Sean Hammond, but the Terps still in possession. Labrizzi knocks it loose. Hammond back to it along the wall. 40 seconds left on the power play. Up top, Peter. His shot doesn't get through the traffic. NC State's to it, and Raleigh will clear it into the neutral zone.
A really good play set up from Maryland. Looked very lethal, but just a bad pass to Grant Warner.
Here's a shorthanded opportunity for Raleigh, but it'll be caught from behind by Hammond. Maryland moves it back in. Down to 15 seconds left on the power play. Kaufman tying his man up on the wall. A little bit of help from Peter. Maryland able to win that scrum. Now Hammond played down into the corner for Doherty. 3 seconds left on the man advantage. Looks like NC State will kill the power play, but the chance still brewing for Maryland. Intercepted. Big time numbers for NC State the other way. Labrizzi coming in with Raleigh, and they are offside. Oh man, that was the perfect chance after killing the penalty.
Yeah,
for
3-on-1, and I'm going to take this from the center camera. Let's slow this down real quick as we get there, and it's Raleigh who just could not time it with Nick Labrizzi. Great look from up high on our camera, but that one, again, just kind of early in the season, trying to know timing for different players, but 3-on-1, you've got to just stay back if you're Raleigh there a little bit. Maybe got a little too eager after he made that steal on that big block on that pass.
Able to hold his own past Morosa. NC State will reset their own end. Mason Payne plays it off the wall and out. Gifford shovels it along for Herman. Touch it to the middle, but that pass disrupted. Still loose along the side. Played off the wall and out. Luke Mohin back the other way. Trying to force his way to the NC State zone. Payne shuts that down, but it'll be held in by Maryland's Tommy Pilkington. He'll walk in and miss with a backhand wad.
I think he just got that one off his stick a little too late. There was an open area.
Oh, out in front. Oh, it's touched just wide by Pilkington again. Good chances for Maryland.
Yeah, just right out in front again. Maybe third time's a charm later on this period, but Pilkington going to be kicking himself right now.
NC State into the zone on the rush. Able to get it to goal, but they'll walk in now. Maxwell shoots it just wide. Give Maryland a chance to break out on Andre Serra plays it deep. Chase Wilson in on the forecheck. Really possessing well here since the end of that power play. Down to the corner, Warner first to it. He'll be knocked off the puck. Gifford gets to it, pushes it forward for Kaufman. Kaufman steps around Andre Serra to the middle for Prasma. It's in his skates. He'll have to go in on the forecheck. Out in at the blue line, that's Patty Maxwell. Plays it into the near corner. NC State's forward line needs a change, so some space here for Maryland to break it out. Stretch pass through the legs of the intended target there, Travis Duchesne. NC State takes back over once more.
I think NC State, they're having that same problem Maryland had. They got to move as a team, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. Get through the zone as a team, because that Maryland forecheck is making them speed up.
Puck stopped up on the side of the goal.
Penalty coming up.
And a penalty, as you mentioned there, Nick, coming up. It looks like I believe this is going to go against NC State.
Yeah, I saw.
It'll allow Maryland to kind of stick around here and get another chance.
Yeah, Patrick Harnon's going to get tripped behind the play here. I believe after the puck goes away. Great little look at it. A lot of action. There's Harnon, and yep, it's going to be a tripping penalty against. I can't really see who that is from up here. It's going to be against Ian Buckley for the Ice Pack, and that Maryland power play kind of cemented them carrying pace of play in the second period. Not many chances early on. The chances picked up towards the end. Now you get another opportunity. You got to win the draw, and again, it looks like they're going to have to break out all the way behind their own net.
Yeah, Finch gets the loose puck off the faceoff and sends it all the way down. Not the way you want to start the power play if you're Maryland. They'll start from behind their own goal. Trapeman with speed. They catch with Patrick Harnon. Drop back off for Teskey. Playing around the wall. Sodden stops it up on the hashes on the far side. Has some help there from Govea. It's a 3-on-2 scrum along the wall. Maryland uses the numbers to their advantage. Back up top Duchesne. Over to Teskey. Up for Craven. His shot blocked and a chance for Finch shorthanded. He's going to take it in on a breakaway. Austin Finch. Oh, a glove save from Pharisee. Big save from the Maryland netminder. That could have been a backbreaker for the Terps.
Finch has been the best penalty killer for NC State today, and arguably so far this season disrupts it again right at the point with a great steal. Caleb Craven struggling to get back as he had to turn around, and that's a great save out in front of the net with the glove by Jack Pharisee. And Finch didn't get a lot of elevation in that. I think if he shot it maybe a little bit quicker, he beats him on the glove side, but Pharisee up to the challenge. Big save to keep it 2-0.
NC State wins the draw. Mason Payne will just slap it down behind the goal. Ice Pack content to kill time here on this penalty kill. 9.5 left in the second period. A minute left on the power play after the tripping penalty to Ian Buckley. Maryland still trying to reestablish themselves. Have a chance to do it here. To the high slot. It's in the skates of Grant Warner. Maryland will set it up though.
A couple times now Grant Warner's had open looks, but the pass just hasn't been there for him.
Saved by Bartels with the glove, and he'll hold on. That was a good save from the netminder. Had to look through traffic on that shot by Eli Peters.
Yeah, Sean Amon's going to be right in front of the net looking for the deflection here, but it's a great job tying up with him. The NC State defender, I believe it is Mason Payne right out in front with him, and allowed Bartels to see the puck and not have a deflection on it, but the Terps are having good looks.
Puck loose in the slot. Bartels took a poke at it. NC State comes away with it. Mason Payne carries it out. He'll chip and chase into the zone. Trying to backhand it through the middle. That pass shut down, but squirts out in front anyhow, and Pharisee shuts it down. Still 26 seconds of power play time for Maryland, but you had mentioned it, Nick. Their power play got stronger as the first opportunity went on. It has not shown much life here this time.
No, it hasn't, and Austin Finch kind of ruined a lot of short-handed opportunity. And that was just the second shot on goal for NC State this whole period. Maryland with 5, but again, Chris, they've had their looks out in front causing chaos. It's just some of these passes are just not where they need to be. They're not crisp enough, and I thought the zone was kept there. Trying to keep his leg back was Colin Doherty, but the linesmen don't agree, and we got it offsides. And Maryland struggling to break the zone. This will be a good look at it. Watch Doherty stretch that right leg back. Just didn't slow down, and that was close, but yeah. maybe by the blade of his skate, that's offsides.
So a face-off on top of the NC State blue line. 20 seconds left on the Maryland power play. Going to try and advance it right off the draw, but that backfires as Patty Maxwell slaps it all the way down.
If you're Maryland, you got to run a play here. Last push, 10 seconds. You can get it in the own zone, maybe dump and chase, keep that man advantage.
Straight down the middle for Grant Warner. His shot blocked by Maxwell. That will finish off the power play. Maryland now 0 for 2. Right out of the box, Ian Buckley picks up the puck. Trying to hand it off to Ammons there. They couldn't quite connect. And now Maryland can skate it back out. Peter into the zone. Shot from the top of the circle. Ooh, a little bit of a juicy rebound there from Bartels. He's able to get away with it. Here's Ammons. Pressure here from Maryland. That's Tommy Pilkington forcing it back behind. Lapani stretching things out, getting a stick to it, Giancani. But again, he was the one who touched it behind the red line last time. And again, it's icing.
We saw a little bit of frustration on the bench. They're going to, it was Colin Doherty, I believe, for Maryland. Just missed opportunity, but compared to last week what we saw, Chris, this has been an extremely tame game. Just players being upset with themselves. A couple of NC State guys were upset with themselves after some bad plays or missed opportunities, but
shot off the face-off deflects just wide. Good chance there for Jack Rukowskis.
No bad blood between these teams. That's what I was going to finish off with.
Just under 8 minutes left in the second period. Not a whole lot going on. A couple of Maryland power plays that have come up empty. NC State offensively hasn't had a lot of time to do much. Here's Connie. And backhanded on goal. Stuck along the side, and Pharisee will cover up.
7:29, NC State now has 3 shots on goal in the period. Take a look at the action behind the play once again. But for NC State, trying to see who they're going to roll with here. They're going to roll with that fourth line, but generating offense the second period. You thought with 2 goals, including a 5-on-5 goal, just their second all season. That first period, that offense will roll into the second period. But Maryland, really, Chris, has carried pace of play almost the entire period, if not the entire period, minus, of course, the Austin Finn shorthanded opportunity. And if you're the Terrapins, you got to be proud, but you still got a donut scoreboard right now.
Shot off the face-off, blocked. Sodden gets back to his own rebound. He'll look things over, plays it down low. NC State setting things up and going to get their first real chance for some ozone time. Labrisi's shot deflected high and out of play. And things will stop with 7:11 left in the period.
7-11. I was going to make a slushy joke there, Chris, but and then, you could say this period's been a little bit like a slushy in terms of, fluidity. There hasn't really been a lot of fluid play between each team.
Good save.
Yeah.
Good save. Maryland breaks it out off the face-off. It'll be a chip and chase game here for Blake Warner. Kicks back out to the blue line. Shot coming. Bartels sees it all the way off the stick of Andrew Walls.
All right. Walls got to be quicker there, I think, when that goes right to the point. I think he just waited a little too long there. He's got plenty of options. He's got a chance to the right side of him on the face-off dot. He could also just fire it away, but I think he just took a little too much time so that he settled that puck down, and sometimes that ruins your opportunity, and Bartels was easily able to make the save. And in defense for Walls, no one really crashing the net like you might have been expecting there.
Wilson and Herman facing off. It's Wilson winning it for Maryland. Back behind the goal, they'll fight for it. Terps come away with it. Big hit from Mason Payne to separate Wilson from the puck. And now NC State will carry it out.
Blake Warner returned the favor on Jake Gifford behind the play.
Herman now leaves it for Darlene, who will walk in. Looking across. Oh, they score. Good finish from an off angle. I believe that was Prasma. Was a little bit distracted by the scuffle between Herman and Body behind the play, but NC State now with a 3-0 lead.
It is going to be Daniel Prasma. I, too, as well, was distracted a little bit from the scuffle between Herman and Blake Warner. But for Prasma, that's going to be his second goal of the year, his 4th point as well. And again, this NC State first line comes through. Now their third 5-on-5 goal. It was all Maryland for pretty much the whole period, but Now coming the other way, a little scrum. NC State with that first line out there, able to settle down offensively, and they find their top goal scorer in Prasma to make it now 3-0. Still plenty of time left for Maryland, but now that's a back blower.
But if you're the Terps, that one stings a
Yeah.
little extra
Just
because you had a strong period. To this point, they are out shooting NC State 6-4, and they've had a couple of chances to score on the power play and weren't able to convert. And now NC State has grown their lead. Dusane's shot handled by the stick of Bartels. Puck gets stopped up along the wall in that corner. We're going to look up close. It'll be the alternate captain, Caleb Craven, who comes off the wall with it. NC State won't let him get far, though. Bounces back to Craven. This puck in the blue line. Good job to hold it in by Sean Hammond. Cross-ice pass into the slot. Oh, but they can't corral it, and NC State dodges a bullet. Maryland wants a penalty here for interference.
Yeah.
The puck was still kind of in the area when he made that
Big hit, though, across the ice from us, and that might be an injury to NC State.
And it is. Gifford is still down. Play carries on.
They gotta stop.
And they gotta watch this. Maryland starting to.
Yeah, they're going after everyone now. Prasma's going at it with Craven. Payne there as well. We got another scrum. Everybody on the ice involved.
Gifford is up of his own accord and skating off. He was slow to get up.
I said it earlier.
The officials are going to have to control this now.
No bad blood between these teams, but now there is. They didn't stop because of that opportunity. Or there's a goal again for Prasma. They didn't stop play. They had a great opportunity the other way. And they kind of just started after play. 2-3 Maryland players went at it with some NC State players. I believe it was Terrapins that initiated it. And it'll be interesting who goes to the box. They're going to send Prasma, and they're also going to send Caleb Craven. But it looks like that might just be it. It might just be the instigators. Big huddle, though, in front of Wade Minter, the public address announcer. Both captains for each team, Herman for NC State and Brian Teskey for Maryland, waiting to talk about it. But Chris, it's now 3 straight games now where we've seen some melee action.
Yeah, the hits have started to get heavier. The first couple were good and clean, and I didn't see as the puck went up ice, I didn't really get a clean look at the hit on Gifford, but the first couple of hits in that sequence were just good, hard hits. And I think after that, the emotions kind of took over a little bit on both sides.
Maybe something might have been said as well after the play. They're asking Maryland head coach Joe Carter for something, or actually Joe Carter might be asking the officials something.
Here's a look at the start of the play. This was just a good hard hit in the corner for Mason Payne. But as you mentioned, another hit was returned after that along the wall, and then the hit on Gifford over on the other side.
Got a huddle.
But if you're NC State here, you can't get sucked into any of this after the play. You've got a 3-goal lead. You've been able to control play for the most part, and even though Maryland has possessed the puck more here this period, you don't really feel totally out of control if you're NC State. And of course, with a 3-goal lead, you don't want to give opportunities to allow Maryland back into the hockey
Chris,
game.
look at the center ice here. Govea, asking for explanation. Teskey a little angry as well. Govea skates away. It looks like it's going to be 4-on-4. It's 2 minutes for both Daniel Prasma and Caleb Craven. It starts on earlier in the period as well. Maybe Tate Sodden got into it after the play. A little bit glove flew, but nothing was going on there. I think it was the hit on Gifford that ignited the tinderbox, if you will.
They'll play 4-on-4 for 2 minutes here, with Prasma in the box for NC State and Craven for Maryland. Terps control the draw. Teskey going to skate it around, Sodden it in. Right down the right wing, he scores! 9 seconds into the 4-on-4, and this is exactly why if you're NC State, you can't give Maryland those openings.
Well, I haven't said it at all this season, but a 3-0 lead is one of the most dangerous leads in hockey. Teskey hugging the official there. Looked like he's about to celebrate with him, but like I said during that huddle, Teskey was one of the ones a little annoyed there with the officials. He took that anger out on that shot, just easily beat Bartels, just a rocket from on the glove side of Bartels, and Maryland on the board. They've been itching at it all game long, trying to just find one in the back of the net. They've had great looks. The captain comes through for the Terps, and it's 3-1.
That's the defenseman Teskey with his second goal in 4 games to start the season. And that will give Maryland some life. Stolen away by Eli Peter.
Still 4-on-4 though for another now 90 seconds, but Maryland, a team that loves to play fast. We saw it with Teskey's goal. It benefits them that there's a lot more space out on the ice.
Teskey, the goal scorer, hands it off for Peter. He'll stretch it out, trying to connect there with Warner. No icing, so Bartel's out to play it. Moves it along past Gorosa. Back behind the goal, he's got Lapani. And he will take his time. Comes cross ice, packs Gorosa with some speed. He'll carry it into the zone, shielding off Sean Hammond behind the goal. He finds Johnson, who has it stolen away. A bit extra jump in the step of the Terrapins right now. Shot around and into the netting. Play will stop. 4:11 left in the period. 49 seconds left of 4-on-4 hockey.
Yeah, and Maryland's been building at this, and now there's a lot of energy. A couple stick tacks to Teskey. Bodie trying to get all the boys fired up on that Maryland bench in front of us. They have life now. And if that was, if you're NC State, that's the last thing you wanted. Take a penalty. Obviously, you get a matching one, make it 4-on-4, but it gave Maryland some momentum. Teskey found the back of the net as Kaufman talks to his wingers about a potential play here off the draw, but there's life for Maryland. They've been building at it all period. They've carried a lot of play this period, and now it's coming to fruition.
NC State able to clear, but not very far. Sarah gets to the blue line and floats it back behind the goal. Collected by Payne. No button hook in his own end. Nowhere to go, so he sends it around for Darlene on the near side. Eric Darlene absorbs a hit, and again, has to go backwards with it. Maryland, even in 4-on-4 right now, not giving NC State a whole lot of options.
They've had the puck for now about 35 seconds, and it hasn't even gotten across the blue line until now.
Darlene with space up the left side, 10 seconds of 4-on-4 left. Darlene shot, whistles wide of the far post. He'll go in after it on the forecheck. Get some help from Ammons in the corner. Jack Ammons played along for Payne. Now back down low, Darlene looking across his pass to the middle, intercepted and cleared out. Bartels fields the clearance, and with some pressure, he'll melt it down. 3:13 left in the period.
Yeah, Craven kind of was just alone there. That was who was supposed to get that stretch pass. Didn't really get to him, but went right in on Bartels. He was hoping a teammate would beat Craven out, but Craven, give a lot of credit to him, able to hustle way down the ice, force Bartels to hold it. And I think Bartels was thinking about playing it out a little sneakily, but made the smart decision as Labrizzi shoots it right into the netting off the draw. We'll do it again. But again, Chris, Maryland's forecheck, it's been a huge problem for NC State. The end of the first period, and especially now in the second.
Well, they'll try the offensive zone face-off again. This time NC State able to control, but a nice pinch there from James Romps to help Maryland establish themselves. Now Luke Mohan behind the goal. Labrizzi intercepts. Under some pressure, though, from Pilkington. The puck squirts loose. Now Gifford. Move forward. Prasma. He'll advance with Herman. 2:50 left in the period as they cross the blue line. Prasma dangling his way into the zone. Behind the goal. He'll get back to the loose puck along the side of the goal. Gifford now. And it'll be the goaltender Pilkington get to it. And yes, a little extra pushing and shoving. Eli Peter in there with, I believe that is Gifford and Prasma behind the net.
Now let's take a look. Go behind the net here. It starts behind the play, and it's going to be Gifford at the start of it. And then chaos ensues from there, but just a lot of pushing and shoving.
More penalties coming here,
actually,
too.
Yeah, we're going to get penalties. Well, Gifford's hot at Pesky right now. He's chirping at him going into the box. Not happy there. Was something after the play. No, but it wasn't Pesky. You're right, Chris. It was Peter for Maryland. It was Peter for Maryland. But it's Teskey who goes into the box. Right now, they got both 2 minutes, so 4-on-4 again. It paid off for Maryland last time. This time, though, the opening draw will be on NC State's attacking end. But the emotions keep riding high now for both teams, and this has kind of become a story for NC State this season, Chris. They let emotions start to get the best of them after plays.
Well, I think this officiating crew doing a little bit better job than last week of trying to keep this game under control. And I think for NC State, one thing they did well against Kentucky last week after the way that the first game ended was they kind of tested Kentucky's patience. They'd get in front of the net, right in front of the goaltender, and see what they did and see if they could get some penalties out of it. And they did. Now tonight, the way the officiating crew is calling things, you're more likely to get matching minors, so that kind of strategy isn't necessarily going to work. NC State with a chance right off the draw. Herman walking in front. He can't get away the backhand shot, and Pharisee will cover it up.
No, I think Herman was hoping that he would have a better shot there. Didn't want to take a good shot, wanted to take a great shot on the backhand or have Prasma there to finish it off, but there was just nothing for him. You slow it down here, and actually Herman kind of just lost it off his stick.
I think more than anything, he wanted Prasma, and that option wasn't there.
No, it wasn't. Pharisee got down low to
Here's Labrizzi, blocker save Pharisee. Back up top, NC State off to a good start on the 4-on-4. Sodden stuck to the wall. Has some help there, Prasma. He'll walk out into the middle. Knocked off his stick right to Labrizzi, whose cross-ice pass is deflected to the wall. NC State has some trouble there. Now Maryland back the other way. Odd man rush if they hurry. Warner looking to the middle. Good pack check Labrizzi as he lifts the stick of the Maryland player in Darty. Now Sodden. NC State back in control. About 1:10 left of 4-on-4. 3-1 lead for NC State with 1:50 left in the second.
Good hip check there from Labrizzi.
Couple bodies down. NC State has a chance to move forward. Herman leaves it at the blue line for Prasma. He'll take the shot. And it hit his stick and deflected wide. Here's Pasquarosa. Just touches it down low. First one there is a Terrapin. That is Sean Hammond. Floated forward for Craven. He'll step around a man and walk in. To the middle, trying to connect with Darty. NC State shuts that down. But Maryland one bounce away from really making this game interesting.
They were, but Pasquarosa and Gouveia, great hustle down the other end to prevent an easy opportunity for the Terrapins right in front.
25 seconds of 4-on-4 left, just over a minute left in the second period. Breakout pass hits a stick. Gouveia has it now. High slot, he stops, looks to shoot. There's a defenseman and Sean Hammond in the way. Gouveia has it again up at the blue line. Looking across, Lapani takes it off the wall. 48 seconds left in the period. Down low, Finch as the time expires on both penalties. Teskey back on the ice, as well as Gifford. Johnson, though, comes off the bench in his place. Johnson in the corner. Teskey to it. He'll sweep it around. Finch gets to it for the pack. He'll shovel it back behind the goal. Now Gouveia pokes it up the wall, but it's Maryland that clears it out. This will be icing with 22 seconds left in the period. And this is a chance for NC State. There's some real tired bodies on the ice for Maryland.
I was going to suggest they get that first line out. Actually, with that third line of Jack Ammons holding Coffey and Buckley, I think maybe give Herman.
A large chunk of that line, other than Gifford, who was in the box, was on the ice for most of that 4-on-4.
That is true, but they are going to go with the second D group, Darlene and Mason Payne. Payne's played a heck of a game, but that doesn't help having the puck go all the way down. It will not be icing.
Interesting. Wow. Yeah, this is going to make things confusing. The linesman who needed to call icing was trying to make sure that the players who were trying to change would not be allowed to change if it was icing. And so the whistle came late. They'll have to kind of figure that out a little bit.
Maybe they're going to have to add probably 2, maybe 3 seconds on the clock.
Well, I don't think that will change. You can't stop the clock until the whistle blows. So it doesn't matter unless he's blowing the whistle. It's a matter of making sure the guys who changed when the puck was cleared are back on the ice. And it looks like were only 1 or 2. They made 1 change. 2 was on the ice for Maryland. And with 11.6 on the clock, another chance in the offensive zone for NC State. Maryland wins the draw. Ammon trying to clear. He's going to be knocked into the wall as he tried. NC State throws it on goal. We'll get another face-off with 5.8 to go.
About 7 or 8 hand shot up there for Maryland. They wanted to call on the hit on Colin Doherty. Watch it center of the screen. It's going to be Ian Buckley, and they get tangled up there. Now from that angle towards the end, it looked like Doherty might have just lost an edge. Maybe feet got tangled up there. It did look close from this angle, live action.
Off the draw, shot doesn't get through to the net. Good chance there for Kaufman, but the period will come to a close. The two teams split goals, and NC State will take a 2-goal lead into the second. But Nick, Maryland, I talked about it earlier on in the game. It felt like Maryland kind of got their feet under them a little bit in the first period, and it felt like they built off the first here in the second.
Yeah, they definitely did. The only problem, though, is they're still down 2 on the scoreboard. They went down 3-0, but that 4-on-4 goal from the captain, Teskey, really gave Maryland a lot of energy there. But then we saw a couple of melee action, extracurriculars, whatever you want to call it, after the play from both teams. But going into this third period, NC State started to sustain more O-zone time again. I think it's just going to come down to who can have the cleanest exit out of their own zone. Because for the Ice Pack, 21 shots on goal, and they had 8 in the last period. Maryland had 9, but Maryland carried a lot of that total early on in the period.
I think the first goal of the third period is going to be important. It'll either give NC State a 3-goal lead or a 1-goal lead. We'll talk about that and more during the second intermission. For now, 3-1 NC State after 2.
In that period. We're going to start with the beginning of the period, however. Now, Maryland carried a lot of play, actually adjusted well, but Daniel Prasma made it 3-0 for the Ice Pack.
I know, I have to say that this game has been a lot of back and forth, especially within the second period. I mean, turnover central out here.
Yeah, both teams really struggling to break it out into the neutral zone. But then we saw extracurriculars from last week return into this one, especially for NC State behind the net again. This time, a couple players go to the box, and it leads to Brian Teskey making it 3-1.
I know, I have to say, Maryland has been having some difficulty on their breakout, like you mentioned. I mean, going back to what I said a couple of games ago, that all offense starts with defense.
Yeah, and Maryland was able to adjust on that. Obviously, they got that goal with Brian Teskey to make it 3-1. But then another extracurricular battle with Daniel Prasma and Brian Teskey, the two goal scorers this period. And now, you know, the emotions are picking up. The officials are having to take control. Can we expect more of that in the third period? It's a question.
I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, but I feel like the Ice Pack and Maryland, they both need to focus on their strong suits, and that is just trying to get the puck on the net.
Yeah.
You know, we have seen the Ice Pack out shooting the Terps, but they've come out victorious. You know, they're leading right now.
Yeah, they are, although Maryland, now they're getting a lot of good looks in front of the net. They just can't find puck to stick, and that can be hard sometimes for a team that's so close, but they just can't finish it off.
I know. Well, there'll be more to come in the third period.
Yeah, there will. When we come back, we'll have a special interview with one of the assistant coaches of NC State.
I would never forget the picture that I have. I'm the only one that's not smiling. Even though I'm with my close friends, I felt alone. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel confident. When I got Invisalign, I built my confidence. It was the best investment that I could do.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
We talk forever about the future. Worry about it, or wish it closer. We try to glimpse the places we'll go. From ocean depths to the far side of the moon. At NC State University, the future is a thing you make. With bright ideas, new tools, and a wolf pack behind you. Tell us where you're headed. We'll help you get there. NC State. Think and do.
When you look at me, you might see
a person with Parkinson's disease.
But if you look closer,
you'll see
a warrior mom,
an endurance athlete,
someone with a lot of fight.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson's Disease Association.
Look closer.
My spirit
is unshakable.
Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing. Because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at cisa.gov/secure-our-world. Then share them with family and friends.
Well, I'm looking good. Thank you. Just became a real ID. What's the plan? Impromptu road trip? Actually, the plan is to fly to New York for today's product launch, and then visit the family in California, and cap it off with a girls' weekend in New Orleans. You really can just do all that. Sure, I'm a real ID, so I'm good to board any domestic flight. Speaking of which, gotta fly. Nice. Enjoy. I'll be here.
Be your Real ID self today. To learn how, visit tsa.gov/realid or your local DMV.
I would never show my teeth. Never. Would never smile. And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anybody's going to take what you have to say seriously. Invisalign has changed my life forever.
Back to Invisalign Arena, I'm Grace Motto, joined by Ice Pack assistant coach Eric Muir. Eric, what has been the key to success for you guys these past 2 periods?
Yeah, I think it's really, we were playing to our structure early on, but then we kind of got away from it. So you can kind of see the ice tilt a little bit in that second period. You know, we got outshot, I think 8 to 9 in that period. So it's, you know, we got to get back to what we were doing. It was getting the pucks deep. We were really using our speed, using our physicality. All the little things that we started off early in the first period, that's what we got to get back to.
And what has the toughest challenge been that Maryland is presenting right now?
Right now, they kind of turned the table, as in they're dumping the pucks in deep, they're getting after it, and they're kind of really attacking it and being a little more physical today. So you can see the difference between the first and the second period is they kind of adjusted to the speed of our game, because that's what our game is speed. and then they're kind of dumping the pucks in, and they're chasing us, they're hitting us, they're being aggressive, and they're moving the puck a lot better in that second period.
So you guys are entering the third period still with the lead, but what are you saying to your guys, to solidify that?
We got to get back to our systems. We got to get back to what we were doing, right? I think the ice definitely tilted a lot more. I think what happened in that period is not our game. I think that's probably one of our worst second periods, honestly, worst period we've had. So it's getting back to the basics, getting back to the details, focus on everything. If we don't have anything, get it deep and go on the forecheck.
All right, well, thank you very much, Eric.
Yeah.
That was Eric Mura of the Ice Pack. I'm Grace Motto, and we'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to the second intermission here at Invisalign Arena. Chris Lehman back alongside Nick Brazzi. And Nick, NC State with that 3-1 lead as we head to the third period. But the big story to me is you look at the way that period kind of ended, the final 5-6 minutes of the period. Got a little bit more chippy, looked a little bit more like that Kentucky game. And if you're NC State with the 3-1 lead, you've got to stay out of that as much as possible.
Well, the first two weekends we were saying this NC State team has changed. They're not, falling into those little traps to promote extracurricular activity. And then you look at, last weekend, you look at today, it's the complete opposite. It looks like last season a good bit too. I will say though, Chris, all of these penalties are after the play and they're matching minors. And I'm very curious to see as well if the refs were told anything from Coach Tim Healy or the league, ACCHL, ACHA, looking back at last week's game here at Invisalign Arena and being told, hey, clean it up this week, short whistles, make those calls. If there's any extracurriculars, send them to the box, control the game.
Yeah, so if you're NC State, staying out of the penalty box will be paramount in the third period. They did kill 2 penalties in the second, but if you give them enough opportunities, Maryland's eventually going to find the back of the net. The other thing is, and I talked with assistant coach Eric Bureau before he came on with Grace, and he was really not happy with the way the team had played so far. You could really see it watching the game just by the eye test. You look at last week versus this week, a much sloppier performance from NC State. It's got to be cleaner.
And you heard in the last interview with Grace, they're talking about the performance in that second period, and me and Grace said it perfectly. It's been sloppy. Something that she's been eyeing a lot is a lot of turnovers at neutral ice, which you said a lot on air as well. It's just not just NC State, it's Maryland, but the difference is Maryland's been able to adjust. They've been able to start limiting them. NC State, on the other hand, they're generating more and more. A lot of passes where they expect someone to be there, they're not there. They're not on the same page. It's early in the season, but this is where you start to see some of those things get cleaned up a little bit. And if they don't, it's a problem. And right now, it's an emerging problem for NC State because when they do start D1 competition fully on, they're not going to get a lot of saving graces, if you will, later on this season.
Yeah, and I want to take a second here as well to turn and look at the goaltending as well. It's really kind of two opposite experiences almost for these two goaltenders. You look at Varsity in net for Maryland. He's had to make a couple of really big saves in tight just to keep his team in the game right now. On the other end, you look at Bartels. He gives up one goal that, he probably could see. It's a good shot from Teskey, but might be one that Bartels wants back. He hasn't seen nearly as much action, and I think he's going to have to be sharp in this third period.
Well, you said nearly as much action. I think it's also the type of action. Bartels has seen a lot directly in front of him in terms of the chaos. A lot of Maryland shots, about probably 7 or 8 shots they could have had on goal that they don't have because they're just stuck in between skates, whether they get blocked, whether they just can't get stick to puck, or they can't get it off their stick. Now, a lot of missing shots from Maryland. On the other hand, though, Varsity has had a very different game, like you mentioned, Chris. He's seeing more clean, open shots from NC State. Not a lot of traffic in front, but distance on these shots with a lot of rip and a lot of speed on them. So kind of a difference in goaltending in terms of what they see, but right now, 13 saves for Bartels, Varsity with 18 in the game.
Yeah, and as we turn our attention to the beginning of the third period, I didn't think the first period was an overly emotional period.
No.
So the start of the period doesn't matter or didn't matter as much as I think the third period start matters. One, it's a tight game. If Maryland can get the next bounce, the next goal, they're right back in the game, and they're in the position you want to be coming into the period. If you're NC State, you got to find a way to tamper that momentum that Maryland carries into the period, and I think that first goal is going to be paramount.
Well, yeah, you saw how Brian Teskey's goal energized that Maryland bench. They were playing a lot quicker to the puck. They had a lot more juice, a lot more jump to the puck, if you will, as well. And, if you're NC State, you got to generate that momentum back somehow. A couple shots we've seen at their bench, not a lot of energy out there, a lack of emotions. And, you hear the band playing behind us. It's probably the biggest crowd in terms of frigid sound members that we've ever had here in Invisalign Arena. A crowd here, trying to edge them on. They've seen some action, but if you're NC State, you're going to have to generate that momentum, that energy by yourself, whether that's a big hit, a big save, or another goal.
Yeah, and we're just about set to get to the third period, so we're going to step aside. When we come back, it'll be time for the third and final period. Still some work to do. 3-1 NC State.
I would never forget the picture that I have. I'm the only one that's not smiling. Even though I'm with my close friends, I felt alone. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel confident. When I got Invisalign, I built my confidence. It was the best investment that I could do.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
We talk forever about the future. Worry about it, or wish it closer. We try to glimpse the places we'll go. From ocean depths to the far side of the moon. At NC State University, the future is a thing you make. With bright ideas, new tools, and a wolf pack behind you. Tell us where you're headed. We'll help you get there. NC State. Think and do.
When you look at me, you might see
A person with Parkinson's disease.
But if you look closer,
You'll see
A warrior mom.
an endurance athlete.
someone with a lot of fight.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association.
Look closer.
My spirit
Is unshakable.
Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing, because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at cisa.gov/secure-our-world. Then share them with family and friends.
Well, I'm looking good. Thank you. Just became a real ID. What's the plan? Impromptu road trip? Actually, the plan is to fly to New York for today's product launch, and then visit the family in California and cap it off with a girls' weekend in New Orleans. You really can just do all that. Sure, I'm a real ID, so I'm good to board any domestic flight. Speaking of which, gotta fly. Nice. Enjoy. I'll be here.
Be your Real ID self today. To learn how, visit tsa.gov/realid or your local DMV.
I would never show my teeth. Never. Would never smile. And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anybody's going to take what you have to say seriously. Invisalign has changed my life forever.
Well, as I was walking back into the booth to start this third period, there was a crack of thunder from outside that shook the building. It's getting stormy outside. It's been stormy inside, Nick, as we get set to start period number 3. We'll see how the emotions carry over into the third, but right now NC State has the advantage, 3-1.
Chris, you're what the kids would say, you cooked there, if you will. But you're right, Chris. You know, thunder outside, there's thunder inside, and I think the thunder inside might be contributing to some of that thunder outside. I know we talked about emotions again at the end of the period during the intermission. I think both teams, mainly NC State, talked about cleaning it up, staying true to yourself, not buying into those emotions. If you're Maryland, though, you know, keep testing those waters a little bit, because that's how they got that first goal, was 4-on-4. Keep testing it a little bit because it's helped you out so far.
Well, Maryland has continually gotten better throughout the game. They were outshot 13-5 in the first period. They actually outshot NC State 9-8 in the second. Of course, you can look at the power play chances and the fact that Maryland had 2 power play opportunities to none for NC State that period. That might be part of the reason for that. But, of course, certainly looking better as the game has gone on. They're going to have their best period here in the third if they want to come back against this NC State squad. Ice Pack in control. Sodden plays it forward to Gifford. Gifford stopping along the wall. He'll just play it around. Herman lets it go for Labrizzi up top. He'll walk the line. Deflected in the middle. Gifford's turnaround shot turned away by the pad of Pharisee.
Gotta see a little bit on the ice here, Chris. You know, some puddling again, which we talked about it a lot earlier this year. But, you know, like you mentioned, it's stormy outside, and the humidity's high since it is, of course, a thunderstorm.
Here's Herman, puts it over top from a bad angle. NC State still in control on the offensive end.
You could see water. Breezy passes on a shot saved there from against Sodden.
Here's Herman. Played down low for Labrizzi. He'll take it off the wall. Thrown off an official. Karem's out in front. Fanned on the shot there from Herman. Gifford with the second try, and that'll be covered up by Pharisee. NC State spends really almost the entire first minute of this third period in the Maryland end. And Nick, we talked about NC State having to clean things up in the third. They've done so here in the first minute.
They have, but you know, I was gonna try to finish my statement there. NC State wouldn't let me, but you know, I saw Labrizzi move that puck from the point, and you could see water all around that puck, kind of squirt loose from the puck itself, and that's gonna be a big story. Interesting puck physics here. You know, could see some weird bounces, mistimed passes as well. You know, kind of attribute to things. You know, it's getting humid outside. It comes inside the building as well.
Yeah, we noticed that last week against Kentucky. Here's a chance in tight. No, it's just past the stick of Finch. He and Johnson were in alone. Here's Mason Payne with the shot. Right into the chest protector of Pharisee. and NC State will continue the ozone time.
You know, I don't know if we can get a good shot of it on camera, but you know, right directly in front of Maryland's bench, just inside the blue line. I mean, you can see just it's reflecting just as water, and you know that's where Labrizzi kind of had some of that water go up a little bit there. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, of course, because of the lighting and of course it being on ice, but no, it's very noticeable to the naked eye.
Well, here goes Maryland. They'll cross into the zone cleanly. Grant Warner plays it down low. Penalty coming up on Maryland for hit in that near corner. Austin Finch.
Got a penalty coming up against
the
Maryland.
Loose puck. Yeah, Bartels will head to the bench now. They give NC State the extra attacker. IcePack are 1-for-1 on the man advantage already. They're looking at their second opportunity here soon. Darlene down the left wing, stops at the hashes, and then throws it out of the zone. And NC State will go back after.
Well, if you're NC State, take this behind the net and just kind of set something up here maybe. You got a 2-goal lead. Why not bleed a little bit of the clock now? Take control of this next offensive possession here. 6-on-5 at the empty net.
A little bit of trouble for Gifford or for Govea. Bouncing puck, he'll settle down. Back to Mason Payne. NC State very patient here with the extra attacker. Into the zone, Ammons. Looking to the middle. He's got Kaufman. Quick shot. Pharisee with the save. And now we'll get the stoppage of play. And we'll see what the penalty is against Maryland.
Someone who went back onto the bench there. Maryland's able to make some line changes. It's going to be, I believe,
here's a look at it.
2, I believe. It's behind the play.
Hit from behind.
Yeah, hit from behind. Can't quite see from that angle who it is. Or to the box. It's actually going to be Eli Petter for Maryland. So back to the power play. NC State, you mentioned it, Chris. 1-for-1. They got that goal to start the game with Reese Johnson. Or, excuse me, with Jake Gifford. Now they're going to roll that line with him out there.
Here's Gifford. Speaking of the man who scored the power play goal. Missed with that pass. Darlene will have to exit the zone. So the second power play chance for NC State tonight. It took almost the full 2 minutes to score in the first period. It is the second power play unit out there right now for NC State. Darlene lifts one over to Kaufman, who returns it at the blue line. Now down to Gifford. Scored from there in the first. Throws it off of Buckley on that attempt, though. Back around to Kaufman. Ammons with control now. Just over 30 seconds gone on the power play. Back up top for Darlene. Looking across, his pass is intercepted, and it'll be cleared down by Patrick Harnett.
And Harnett's actually going to be the only one not going on the bench here. 3 of the 4 penalty killers for Maryland hop off, as actually Harnett now comes off the ice. So quick little change for the Terps.
NC State has the top power play line out there now. Pass to the middle, intercepted. NC State trying to hold the zone, but Prasma can't. He's under some pressure from Darty. As he enters the zone, it's knocked off his stick and cleared back out. Prasma had his stick knocked away. He wanted another call. He didn't get it.
Maybe it might have broke, too. He's going to get a new one. But, that was a great play by Teskey in front, because Prasma's got a wide open net on that good cross pass. But Teskey being pesky.
Here's Prasma. Hesitates in the corner. Throws it around for Herman.
That's going to be a penalty
coming up. That was not a smart play by Andre Serra. And I'm not sure he meant to flick it at Herman. He wanted to flick it out of the way. But you can't play the stick like that, and especially you can't do it when the official is right there. And it's going to be 23 seconds of 5-on-3 now for NC State.
Yeah, he did kind of flick it. There's Prasma and Penske going at it again. They had the penalties last that made it 4-on-4, and then, just kind of played it with the stick there. It is unfortunate. I'm a little surprised that official didn't pick it up when play went back into the NC State defensive end. You see Brian Teskey at center ice, asking him at it, like, you guys going to pick that up at least? But now it's going to be 5-on-3 NC State for just 23 seconds, but that Maryland can kill this off. They've got a great chance to come back in this game momentum, but if we have percentages and odds in terms of if Maryland can come back in this game, if they give up a goal here, it gets just significantly lower.
NC State will set up off the draw. Labrizzi over to Herman. Plenty of space, walking in, shooting. Oh, it hit somebody in front, deflected wide. Just about out of time on the 5-on-3. Now Labrizzi holding, back to Herman again. On the circle, looks across, they score. Now the question is, was the penalty over? It's going to be a power play goal for NC State. and it looks like it's going to end the 5-on-4 just a split second too late. But NC State up 4-1.
And it's going to be Joey Govea's first goal and first point of the season for the Ice Pack as well. It was 24 seconds, Chris. That's what I have on my sheet.
It's exactly when the penalty expired.
And yeah, Govea deflected it. If Govea didn't, Reese Johnson was right there as well. Nice little nifty play from NC State. It is back to 5-on-5. A little unfortunate for NC State, but he'll definitely trade that for a goal 7 days of the week. And now back to a 3-goal advantage for NC State. We talked about that next one being the most important in terms of momentum in this game, and NC State's got it. But Maryland nearly comes back the other way. That was James Blomps for the Terrapins with a good opportunity. You know, this has been a game of momentum, Chris. NC State's on that pan advantage, able to sustain some more offensive zone time, and it translated into a goal. That's something we didn't really see a lot of them in the second period. Maryland carried that zone time.
So it's a power play goal for Joey Govea, assisted by Zach Herman and Nick Labrizzi. NC State back to a 3-goal advantage less than 5 minutes into the third. Pass forward intended for Gianconni is off the mark. Connie runs his man off the puck though, and Patterson to it in the corner. He'll be separated from the rubber, and now Maryland can take it back the other way. Rink wide pass from Petter, able to find the winger in Pilkington, who's separated from the puck by Lapani. Shoving around the wall. Maryland first to it on the near side. NC State out shooting Maryland this period 7-0. Another chance coming. It's in the skates of Raleigh, and he can't get a shot away. Patterson now looking out in front. That pass shut down. Darlene pinching in to hold his own, and he does so momentarily. But Maryland, with the second attempt, gets out. Darlene quickly back with it. He's got a man coming with him. Darlene in front. Pad saved by Pharisee, and Raleigh can't get the rebound to goal. Oh, a hard hit from behind. Back behind the goal on Hammonds. No hand up.
Raleigh
they will carry on.
Raleigh returned the favor back against Blake Warner there.
We talked about it. The officials did a good job of kind of reeling things back in the second. Keep an eye on hits like that here in the third and see if it continues. Icing waved off on that stretch pass. NC State to it first. The near wall, Ammons gets the pass. Looking to the middle for Buckley, can't connect. Give Maryland a chance to move forward. His body sends it deep. Nice hit there from Wilson. NC State struggling to break out here. Feels like they're falling back into the habits of the first and second period a little bit. Ooh, big hit
crunch.
back behind. Two Maryland players collide with an Ice Pack defenseman. And it looks like Labrizzi is a little bit shaken up trying to get to the bench. Kaufman now. As Sawden overshoots with that pass, and icing will be the goal.
Well, we talked about that hit behind the play, Chris. We're going to get another great look at it here. We take a look behind the net. Actually, let's take a look, great look here at it. It's going to be behind the net. Labrizzi goes and gets it, and then it's later on here as well. If we kind of speed things up here. Here comes the Maryland defenders, and then just a crunch against them. It was a big hit. I believe that was Blake Warner who led the charge there. He had a long shift, very physical shift too. Got knocked down 2 times, delivered 2 big hits. Hopefully Labrizzi's all right for the Ice Pack there, but he took a crunch.
Speaking
crunch
of big
in the corner.
hits, Buckley knocks his man down in the corner. NC State holds the zone. Pasquarosa knocks it into the Maryland bench. Looks like it'll stay an offensive zone faceoff though for NC State.
Talk about this crunch behind the play. It's going to be Ian Buckley. And Eli Petter skates back, kind of stops him. Buckley, never deviated from his line, just skated right into him, and he delivered a good blow. Heard some thunder again, during one of those last sequences of plays, and I don't know if the thunder inside might be a little louder right now.
NC State wins the draw. Pasquarosa down the wall and back behind. Herman first to it. Try and poke it up the wall. Lapani there, chips it up with a backhand. And now Herman taking some punishment but keeps it in. Back behind the goal, Schrademan. NC State separates him from the puck. Here's Pasquarosa. Looking for Gifford. That one ends up back below the goal line for Herman. He'll turn. Pasquarosa can't hold the zone on that pass. Actually did stay in. Out in front. Chance for Prasma, but he doesn't have an angle. And he tried to get a little too cute there. Lapani now. Slap shot off the glove of Pharisee and into the corner. NC State trying to get back to it. Under pressure, Prasma lifts it in front. All the way back out, it finds Pasquarosa. He's got Gifford. Swept back down behind the goal. Prasma finds Herman. Out in front, can't connect with Gifford, but it ends up on the stick of Lapani. Great sequence here from NC State. Herman again. He'll absorb a hit behind the goal. Leaves it for Gifford now. Gifford has it stolen away, and now Penner can clear the zone. Unfortunately for Maryland, it's right on goal. They avoid icing. They do get a wholesale change to the Terps. NC State needs to change as well.
Well, Chris, again, we saw the puck physics on this kind of wet, not frozen ice surface come into play there. You thought the puck left the O-zone for NC State. It didn't, and that's because of all that water. It slows the puck down because it's not as frozen. It doesn't move as quickly as it might if everything was frozen up. The water slows that puck down. We saw it right in action there in front of the Maryland bench.
Finch and Darlene playing catch back behind the goal line. Finch having trouble with it. Govea finds the loose puck. His pass taken away. Grant Warner trying to take it out of the zone. Good play by Govea. They'll knock it loose for NC State to take again. Johnson now. Off the wall. Finch can't corral, but he'll stop the clearing attempt from Andre Serra. NC State, you're starting to see that depth show. The Ice Pack seem to have just an extra step here in the third period.
Yeah, they definitely are, and they made good adjustments in the locker room because this offensive prowess that they have right now has just been phenomenal, but numbers the other way for the Terps.
Into the zone. Go the Terrapins. Can't get a good chance away there, though, for Cameron Horan. Shoot it right in on Bartels. Both teams, again, looking to make a change. Here's Govea. Bodied up as he crosses his own blue line. Headmans for Brandon Raleigh. Raleigh, backhand try off the pad of Pharisee back behind the goal. Pitching in, now Patterson there to help out. He'll shuffle it back down low. Past the halfway point of the third period, NC State has extended their lead to 4-1. The power play goal from Joey Govea. Here's Labrizzi, took that heavy hit earlier. To see him back out on the ice. He'll skate right through the middle. Nick Labrizzi tried to poke it on goal, and it deflects over top. He's back to it along the wall. Ammon's there to help out. He'll kick it along for Patterson. Back to the blue line, Sodden. Looking things over, plays it off the wall into the far corner. No white jerseys there. And a chance for Luke Mahan to clear it out, and he can't. Caleb Craven looking for space. Trying to break it out for Romps. He has trouble. And again, Maryland just starting to look worn out.
Yeah, and we talked about depth, during that intermission, Chris, and it's starting to show a little bit here as Maxwell's shot just goes wide for the Ice Pack. But NC State started playing a little more physical with that offensive forecheck. They started finding their groove, and look at this numbers that they got here.
Ammon's down the left wing, down to a knee. The shot blocked by Andrew Walls. Good defensive play there. 8.5 to go in the third now.
And just this period alone, Chris, NC State came in about 21 shots on goal. They've got 8 already. Maryland, on the other hand, just 3.
Yeah, NC State has flipped things back to the way it looked more so in the first period. Pass all the way down. Could it be icing? And it will just be an icing call. Teskey beats out Ammons. And it comes back to the NC State zone.
Well, if you're Maryland, you've kind of gotten outplayed for most of this third period, but you've got a chance to take some of that momentum back and get back in this game. They need a goal in the next 2 minutes if they want a chance to come back. And it all starts here. An icing against NC State. You're going to roll out one of your best lines that you got offensively. You hope you win the draw and you set something up right from there. They got to move quickly, too.
Ice Pack won the draw. Kaufman, the centerman, gets back to it in the corner. Plays it up for Ammons. He'll be stuck in the corner. Maryland trying to keep this mismatched line out for NC State right now. Into the middle. Pass gets clogged up, and NC State finds the loose puck. Here comes Ammons, and they're in offside. Buckley, a little too over-anxious coming into the zone.
And he's frustrated about it. You can tell from his body language. Thought he had a great opportunity coming the other way there. It does allow NC State to change. They are going to line match Maryland. They'll bring out their first offensive forward line, as well as their second defensive line. But, man, you could tell Buckley there just not happy with himself there. But, that's some of that accountability that we didn't really see last year from players from NC State. Buckley, he knew he messed up there, and he showed it. And that's not a bad thing either, to show it.
Pass forward off the stick of Travis Duchesne, and NC State will take over. Duchesne, though, on the forecheck, not making it easy. Splits loose for Gifford. He'll play it along for Zach Herman. Looking for Prasma too long, but the speed of Prasma beats out the icing. Daniel Prasma looking to the center, didn't have any options. He loses it behind the goal, but Mason Payne holds the clearance. Now Sarah. Maryland defenseman looking to break it out, throws it off the skate of a teammate. NC State will take advantage of the miscue and take back the puck.
Got some action behind the play again. I believe that's Gifford going at it. It's going at it with Andre Serra.
Sarah's been in on some of the extracurriculars throughout the game so far. He's got control of the puck here. Shot deflected wide.
Gifford, again, throwing the body around a little bit there. That time he threw it against Strainman. Gifford playing with a little extra energy right now, playing a little hot maybe.
Pass taken off the boards and carried in by Maryland, but they get a whistle here. Stoppage with 6:24 to go. Face-off will stay in the NC State zone.
Again, if you're Maryland, you got to win this draw. It's a must-win now, and you've got to get just a good look. They haven't had a good look in a long, long time, and there's a prime opportunity. And just to get one back, even if it is just a good look, it doesn't go in. You need something to build off of this final 6.5 minutes.
NC State will break it out after the face-off. Finch carrying it in. Has a man with him in Johnson, but can't find a passing lane. Maryland will take it away. Finch turns it right back over, though. He'll leave it at the blue line for Reese Johnson. Johnson plays it into the corner. Finch tracks it down. He'll stop in the corner. Has Sodden at the blue line, looking things over. Back to Austin Finch. Shot deflects wide. Johnson trying to force it back out in front. Instead, he has to go to the blue line. Back to Johnson into the middle, off the stick of Finch. Johnson follows up to take back control in the middle. Finch, backhand try, 2 chances, and Pharisee up to the task both times. Good chances for NC State. Govea sends it rink wide. Johnson again, lifts it up and into the corner. Govea to him. NC State, lots of periods of extended offensive zone time here in the third period in particular. Now the puck lifted up over top of the Maryland bench and out of play.
Take a look at that last opportunity for Austin Finch right in front. Goes with the backhand, no. Second chance, deflected away, and then Pharisee able to stick it away there. Finch able to get into those tight areas sometimes and tried to make it work there, forced his way, and Pharisee, though, like you said, Chris, up to the challenge.
Maryland will control the defensive zone draw. They'll look to lift it up and out. Giancani gloves it down, though. He's got Patterson stepping in. Patterson has trouble with a bouncing puck. Still on the side of the goal. Connie plays it off the post. Stuck along the side of the net still. Maryland eventually alleviates
got action
some of
behind the
pressure.
net again.
And a little bit of a wrestling match behind the play, but we'll let things carry on. Dropped off for Luke Mohan. Mohan to the middle. Stopped by Bartels. It's still loose in the crease. And now Bartels, I believe, well, I thought he was on top of it. The puck is still there. And I think the helmet coming off is what caused the stoppage.
James Roms lost his helmet there. It was a huge scrum, but yeah, Bartels never had the puck there, Chris. It was loose, and when they blew that whistle, it had come all the way out onto Bartels' stick side of the faceoff dot and then came back across. We've got a great look right here. All this action coming in, everyone coming in. Looks like a rugby scrum. And then Maryland comes away with it. That would have been a great opportunity for the Terrapins if the helmet didn't come off. Because that's more than likely a goal if it's on net, because Bartels never saw it.
And the faceoff will come out of the NC State zone, so the Ice Pack catch a little bit of a break there. 4:48 to go in the third. NC State in control, 4-1. toss centerman Sarah out of the, or rather Wilson out of the draw.
That was something that Body did next to Giancani. Not even in the face-off dot.
Patterson skating in. Connie in the middle has trouble with the puck hopping around. Fight for it along the goal line. Cleared up by Petter, but not out. NC State got to keep head on a swivel. Maryland looking for contact here late in the game. Back down low. After it, Raleigh. Maryland has it. Petter up the wall, into the middle. Pass for Wilson on and off his stick. Hammond steals it. His shot blocked. Deflect into the far corner. Pass around behind the goal, intercepted by Patterson. Pasquarosa up top, D-to-D with Payne. Quick shot, deflects wide, but into the near corner again, Patterson. Pasquarosa slaps it back deep. Petter there for Maryland. Shoveled around by Pasquarosa again. Under 4 to play. Pinching in, Payne holds the zone. A little bit of help as well from Kaufman. Here's Ammons, looking for the shot, fires high and wide. Payne pinching in again to keep the line. Kaufman, or rather Ammons, had the loose puck and lost it. Now Pharisee doesn't like what he sees, and he'll hold it along the side of the net.
Down to 3:35 here in this game. How about this play by Ammons to keep the puck in, and then right in the slot, got numbers. Did the right decision, tried to shoot it, didn't really have a passing lane to Patterson, but able to get deflected on it, and a good block there from the Terrapins. But if you're Maryland, this is not how this third period was supposed to go for the Terrapins. They had a lot of energy coming into this period. Looked like they were turning the tides a lot in that second period, but NC State just came out and said, we're going to play this style of hockey the entire period, and they have not strayed away from it at all.
Maryland slowly making progress through the neutral zone here. Carried in by Schraebman. Knocked off the puck by Dahlin. Dahlin and Kaufman in the corner going after it. Some help from Ian Buckley as it pops loose. Travis Duchesne forces it back down low, and Kaufman will circle back. Holden Kaufman, space and time through the middle. He's going to walk right around Andre Serra. Oh, a great diving play from behind by Harnan. Kaufman was in all alone, but now a chance here for Michael Schraebman back the other way. Dahlin stride for stride with him. And Bartels makes the save and holds on to the rebound.
How about the defensive play from Patrick Harnan? It looked like Kaufman had a top 10 play and then did it, and then just an unlucky bounce for NC State. And coming the other way, Michael Schraebman, but Bartels was there. Good little hustle getting back from NC State as well to take a lot of that shot angle away from Schraebman. Had to do it, had to shoot it on that stick side of Bartels. He was able to get over and make the save in time. It's just kind of been that type of day for Maryland, if you will. They have a great opportunity, but NC State's been there up to the task to deter it and make it a lot harder on them.
Chance off the face-off. Shot doesn't get through, and NC State moves back up. Labrizzi for Prasma, back to the middle. Labrizzi knocked down, but the pass all the way across finds Herman. Up at the blue line, Gifford shot, held on to by Pharisee, and now Gifford's going to go to the box. And you've seen his...
I think he got.
His emotions have started to heat up a bit, and that was where it just kind of boiled over.
Yeah, it's behind the play. He might have got baited a little bit there from Colin Doherty.
Oh, you can see the reaction of Doherty. Doherty wanted that reaction and drew the penalty. That's exactly what he wanted, and they'll get a power play out of it.
And that's just a testing moment to NC State. They would take a lot of penalties like that last year, and they do it once again. 2:35 to go down 3. You may see a 6-on-4 here. They might pull Jack Pharisee, but down 3, 2:35. You just want to get one in the back of the net first.
Well, there might be a slight crack left in the door for Maryland, but they're going to have to open it a little bit further with a power play goal. All the way across for Heyman. Shot doesn't get through. The rebound doesn't either, but Bartels got lucky. He was a little bit out of position going after that first shot, and NC State clears the zone.
Good couple looks there for Maryland. You're right, Chris. Bartels, again, did not find that one, and it's because the Terrapins created a lot of traffic in front, blocking his vision.
Wanna trying to skate it into the zone himself, and ends up out of play.
You hear some chirps from the NC State bench about that one for sure. I said there was no bad blood between these teams in the first period. I think I spoke too soonly, Chris, because there there's definitely been bad blood growing here at Invisalign Arena.
Down under 2 minutes left in this contest. A little over a minute left on the power play as NC State sends it the length of the ice once more. This is the third power play opportunity of the night for Maryland. 0 for 2 on the previous 2 chances. Chipped in by Hammond. NC State trying to clear, but it'll hit the skate of Warner, who holds the zone. And now the clearance looks like it hit somebody on the NC State bench.
And now Warner and Bodie chirp back at that NC State bench as it goes out of play there. So there's certainly some chirping between benches right now with Gifford in the box. But a minute 28, 54 seconds on the Maryland man advantage. I mean, they had a chance, but it seems like maybe Maryland is trying to play for a little bit of pride here down the stretch now.
They'll win another offensive zone draw here on the power play. 50 seconds of man advantage time left. They'll get things set up. Top Proteski. Shot, pad save made by Bartels, and NC State clears. Well, this will move NC State to 4-1-1 overall. So they will take on Virginia Tech tomorrow night. They head up into Virginia for that matchup. We talked about in the pregame, Virginia Tech, I think, a little bit better of a team than Maryland, but similarly constructed in terms of depth. There's going to be 1 or 2 lines that NC State really has to worry about. As you mentioned, Gavin Peduzzi led all ACHA Division II scorers last year, so it'll be a little bit of a different test, but it's a solid outcome for NC State tonight, despite the fact that they didn't play their best game really for the first 2 periods. Points in the third period, they haven't necessarily looked their best either.
No, but there's been points this third period where they have looked their best, Chris. They're showing signs of it. Again, it's a little early in the season, but you want to see more of what you saw in the third period if you're NC State. But Chris, as time winds out, a milestone victory for this coaching staff.
Absolutely, and the staff that is together now for NC State, of course, head coach Tim Healy, his assistants in Eric Mura and the goaltending coach Alex Rossetto, along with equipment manager Jesse Tart, have all been together since Coach Healy took over as the head coach, and this is their 100th win as a staff. So as you mentioned, a big milestone for the Ice Pack coaching staff.
Yeah, it definitely is, and what a way to get that 100th win. Wire to wire pretty much for the Ice Pack. There were some times in that second period where they did not look like the best team out of the ice tonight, but they were able to make some adjustments, and they looked like the much better team for a majority of that third period. Again, not their best game. They still have a lot of things they need to clean up on, but good start to the season for the Ice Pack now, 4-1-1, and Chris, it's their first multi-goal victory of the season without an empty netter. It's also their first game of the season where they've had multiple 5-on-5 goals.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me about this game is that NC State, for the most part, played far from their best game and were still able to come out with a win. You have a lot of things going into a game against a strong Virginia Tech team, despite the fact that they are a Division II opponent. It is a strong Virginia Tech team that you're going to have to clean things up against a little bit if you want a similar or the same result tomorrow.
Yeah, Virginia Tech, we mentioned Baduzzi already. They also have other players around them. Cam Kazai, another one of those players. Oh, we got action at center ice after the handshake. Oh, goodness. This is not what you want to see after play, too. Coach is out there, and they're still pushing and shoving. This is unacceptable. Andrew Walls pushing someone for NC State. Oh, my goodness.
Well, NC State would like to get over to their band for the alma mater as the two teams head off the ice. I think NC State might modify things here, but they come away with the win 4-1 over Maryland. They're going to take that win up to Virginia Tech.
They're still
chirping.
They're still
replicate it as they get set to add another win, hopefully tomorrow. Well, we'll step aside. We'll be back with postgame after this.
I would never show my teeth. Never. Would never smile. And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anybody's going to take what you have to say seriously. Invisalign has changed my life forever.
Locally owned and operated by an NC State graduate, the Red and White Shop is your source for all things NC State. Just off campus in the Ridgewood Shopping Center at 3526 Wade Avenue, the Red and White Shop has everything the NC State fan needs. Sporting goods and memorabilia, your favorite NC State team apparel, tailgating essentials, Ice Pack gear. A proud sponsor of the NC State hockey team, a percentage of all Ice Pack sales go back to the team. Stop by today or visit us online. The Red and White Shop.
Why are sandwiches so much better hot?
I don't know. Why does everyone love summer or hot gossip? Hotter is just better.
Oh, don't forget about hot ovens. Or hot peppers.
Hot springs, hot chocolate.
Hot sandwiches.
Ooh.
Hot soup, hot air balloons. Hot yoga.
I get it. Hotter is better.
Or hot melted cheese. Sorry.
Potbelly, we bring the hot.
Happy birthday, Max.
Yes! I'm Joe on the phone, here to show you 4 easy ways to stay safe online. Come on. We can secure our world when you choose your passwords. Make them strong. Use a password manager to help you along. But don't just use a password alone. Get a call, get a text, or a code on your phone.
MFA really works.
We can secure our world. When it's time to update an app, don't you hesitate. Do it ASAP.
Just like that.
Watch out for offers too good to be true. What? It's probably someone trying to take advantage of you.
Hey, that's phishing.
Let's report it. Install updates. Make better passwords. Think before you click. Use multiple factors. That's how we can secure our world. Learn more at CISA.gov/secure our world.
For each life moment, your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. Your kids may be eligible now, even if you've applied before. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Get started now at insurekidsnow.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
I would never forget the picture that I have. I'm the only one that's not smiling. Even though I'm with my close friends, I felt alone. I didn't feel pretty. I didn't feel confident. When I got Invisalign, I built my confidence. It was the best investment that I could do.
You flip the monitor.
Back here in Invisalign Arena, Nick Ferrazzi joined alongside Grace Mata. And Grace, stormy and thundering outside, a little stormy and thundering inside to end that game. Emotions riding high, but NC State victorious 4-1 over the Maryland Terrapins, where NC State, for a majority of this game, a good portion of it, they didn't look like themselves, but came out firing in the third period.
I know, you talked about thunder, but usually when there's thunder, there's lightning, and Joey Govea on the power play struck and, added one to the board.
Yeah, and you'll actually be interviewing Joey on the flip side of this upcoming commercial break. Don't want to spoil too much just yet, but for NC State, this is their, like I said before we wrap things up on the game, it's their first game they have multiple 5-on-5 goals. It's their first multi-goal win, of course, without an empty netter. The biggest win of the year. They get their goal differential up from +1 to now +4. But still some things to work on tonight for the Ice Pack race.
I know, and we don't want to focus too much on full advantage goals or power play goals. Any goals really are great,
Yeah.
but it was nice to see them mix it up this game.
Yeah, it definitely was. And, of course, that power play for NC State, 2 for 2. Well, really 2 for 3 since, of course, the 5-on-3 ended about 2 seconds earlier. But, special teams for NC State did a fantastic job. Again, they gave up 1 4-on-4, but the penalty kill looked strong, too.
And they did a great job causing chaos in front of the net, getting bodies out in front, and in the end, they ended up with a couple.
Yeah, and you see a bit of a stormy view of the bell tower over on Hillsborough Street. Rain coming down. It's going to be raining all day tomorrow, but hopefully that bell tower gets light up red tonight for the Ice Pack win. Could be light up red tomorrow, not just for the football win against Virginia Tech, maybe even an NC State hockey win against the Virginia Tech Hokies. But one last thing, Grace, before we wrap things up, before your interview, the emotions again. We talked about the storminess, outside, the storminess inside, of course. Bit of an ugly ending to that game. A lot of physicality, an ugly second period as well. Still some emotional work NC State has to do, as well as their opponents.
We saw it in the handshake line. The game's over.
Yeah.
You can't really do anything. You can't turn back time. So I think it just comes down to discipline and staying true to your team, staying true to yourself. You have 60 minutes to leave it all on the ice. And I think NC State did do that, winning. But they just have to stay focused for tomorrow night's game.
Yeah, and that handshake line, a bit of a kind of sacred tradition, sacred place, if you will. Game's over. It's something you don't want to see, a bit of an ugly end to things here in Invisalign Arena, but NC State pulls out victorious over the Maryland Terrapins 4-1. When we come back, Grace Mata over here will be interviewing third period goal scorer and his first point of the season, Joey Govea.
Welcome back to Invisalign Arena. I'm Grace Motto, joined by Ice Pack assistant captain Joey Govea. Joey, first goal and second point of the season. With this being your senior season, what does this mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. It was great to get the monkey off the back, get the first points of the year. But, we just got to keep going, keep moving forward. We won today, but we got to focus on tomorrow now.
And we saw you guys connect a lot more in your passes and shots in the third period. What was Coach saying to you guys?
In the first and the third, we looked really good. In the second, we weren't really snapping it around too well. Coach kind of came in, told us we got to get it in gear, and that's what we did.
And tomorrow's matchup, what are you guys thinking?
We got to go up there. We got to show out. We can't play like we did in the second tonight. If we show up, play hard, play a 60-minute game, keep it crisp, I think we're going to be all right.
All right, and that was Joey Govea of the Ice Pack. I'm Grace Motto, and we will see you after this.
I would never forget the picture that I have. I'm the only one that's not smiling. Even though I'm with my close friends, I felt alone. I didn't feel pretty, I didn't feel confident. When I got Invisalign, I built my confidence. It was the best investment that I could do.
Welcome to Moe's! At Moe's, we've always been inviting, but we have a bigger story to tell. A place that welcomes you to be you. Fresh, high-quality ingredients. We got that. Go ahead, do your thing. Come on, let's get weird. We don't judge. Moe's wants you to come in with your crew and their appetites. Dine in, pick up, or order on the Mo Rewards app. Either way, don't just stroll in, roll all in to Moe's Southwest Grill.
We talk forever about the future. Worry about it, or wish it closer. We try to glimpse the places we'll go. From ocean depths to the far side of the moon. At NC State University, the future is a thing you make. With bright ideas, new tools, and a wolf pack behind you. Tell us where you're headed. We'll help you get there. NC State. Think and do.
When you look at me, you might see
a person with Parkinson's disease.
But if you look closer,
You'll see
A warrior mom.
an endurance athlete.
someone with a lot of fight.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association.
Look closer.
My spirit
is unshakable.
Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication, update software, and recognize and report phishing, because online safety is not something you want to fumble. Get more game-winning tips at cisa.gov/secure-our-world. Then share them with family and friends.
Well, I'm looking good. Thank you. Just became a real ID. What's the plan? Impromptu road trip? Actually, the plan is to fly to New York for today's product launch, and then visit the family in California and cap it off with a girls' weekend in New Orleans. You really can just do all that. Sure, I'm a real ID, so I'm good to board any domestic flight. Speaking of which, gotta fly. Nice. Enjoy. I'll be here.
Be your Real ID self today. To learn how, visit tsa.gov/realid or your local DMV.
I would never show my teeth. Never. Would never smile. And it forces you into this submission of silence because you don't think that anybody's going to take what you have to say seriously. Invisalign has changed my life forever.
Welcome back. Post-game, NC State 4-1 winners over Maryland. Back with head coach Tim Healy of the Ice Pack. And coach, this was a game where your team didn't have their best for the entirety of it, but were still able to come away with the win. What does that say about your team?
It says we still need to work on 60 minutes of play, but I had great philosophy professor of mine, Father Regan from Fairfield, once said to me, as part of his class, once you know, you never not know. And after the Liberty game, we know how good we can be. And once you know, you can never not know is we're not good enough to just walk all over teams no matter how good we are. And we took the second period off, and, credit to Maryland, they kept coming. I thought our first and third were terrific, but I definitely think there was, some work to do in the second, right? But now they know, right? Hey, we're not good enough to take a period off against anyone.
And so one thing that we kind of talked about throughout the course of the season so far that you've hit on is the goaltending depth that you have on this team now. And Peter Bartels hasn't seen a ton of action so far this season. And this is kind of a tough game for a goaltender. You get almost no action in the first period, a lot more in the second, and then a little bit more of the same from the first period in the third. What do you think about how he was able to handle that kind of fluctuation throughout the game?
And getting to know Peter, right? He's very mentally level. He's very mature. And so he's able to concentrate. He's able to concentrate and focus. And if you notice, he likes to play the puck a lot. So even in that first period where he wasn't getting a lot of shots, he's coming out to play the puck. So that helps keep you engaged. And then, a little wet ice back there, turnover to start the second, and, suddenly it's on. But yeah, so that's, so he does a good job of keeping himself engaged. But you're right, our goaltending depth is outrageously good. We were talking before the game. most teams would want one of our 4 keepers, right? And it's just insane. It's amazing.
Well, depth in general has been a strength more so for your team this year than last. And you look at, of course, Maryland tonight, compare them a little bit to who you have tomorrow in Virginia Tech up in Virginia. Virginia Tech, probably a little bit better of a team, but from
Especially
a
that
construct
power play, yeah.
Exactly. But in the way that they're constructed, a little bit more top-heavy in a way that Maryland was tonight. What's going to be different tomorrow night?
Well, I think what we've seen through our first couple of back-to-backs, Liberty then Kentucky, we have the ability to bring in fresh legs that are good, right?
Yep.
Like, so, we'll be able to bring some fresh legs into the lineup tomorrow, and that makes a world of difference, right? We're able to run 4 lines both nights. Virginia Tech played tonight, even though it wasn't against us, they still played. So that goes a long way to realistically in a weekend set, we're running 5 lines. And that goes a long way with that depth.
All right, well, it's going to be a test tomorrow against Virginia Tech, another solid opponent. But tonight, NC State 4-1 winners over Maryland. We'll see you next time.
Go Pack.